Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this episode of Raw Naked Truth with MARYAM HENEIN. Breaking news: Trump approves DC emergency declaration ahead of Biden inauguration. Let's welcome MARYAM HENEIN to the show. MARYAM, how are you tonight?
Bonjour. Hello. I am back from the capital.
Comment vas-tu?
I'm recuperating. I got sideswiped by BLM and thrown to the floor, and got tear gassed in the rotunda. So I'm one of the few that got some footage really up close to where they were breaking in.
Wow. I'm excited to share that footage with the audience because, of course, a lot of this footage has not been seen. A part of that is because of the massive censorship sweep that we are witnessing happening now on Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere else. And of course, you guys are aware that Parler has also just now been taken down today. So part of this episode, folks, thank you for joining us here. This is a live interactive show. We have multiple guests coming up with us this evening. Jason at 4 has just confirmed he'll be up in about 10 minutes or so. He'll be joining us. So too is my buddy Dave. So we'll be welcoming them soon here in the next couple of minutes. Now, folks, this show tonight, we're going to spend a little bit more time looking at January 6th. It's still very much important to look at these things. Some people are saying, hey, this past news, there's so much more things happening today. Yes, to some degree it is, but to some degree it is not. There are still a lot of aspects to be uncovered as to what actually happened on January 6th. We have a person here who was there live, boots on the ground, to share her point of view. And so we're going to take some time to go through those events and then go also into this live role action playing game here on this episode for your entertainment purpose only. Joe, Dave, and MARYAM and myself are going to extrapolate and have conversations just for fun. Conspiracy theories, of course, all of them, and none of them need to be taken seriously, of course. It's just for fun. So we're going to have quite the show with you this evening. And guys, while we're doing the show live here, as you saw, there's breaking news here. I want you guys to participate with us too. So if you're seeing new things coming up as we're on the live stream, please put it in the chat and we will try to address them as we can. Wow, I just see. Okay, so Dave is about to join us here on the chat. So let me bring him back up on the screen here. Our friend Dave Bronin, one of the 3 dudes in the desert. Let me add him to stream. Dave, how are you tonight, man?
I am doing well, JC. How are you doing? How are you doing, MARYAM?
Hi, it's nice to see you, Dave. Nice
good
to see
you. I'm glad you made it back home safe.
Yeah, I took part in an arguable false flag in an episode of January 6th where the audience becomes part of the reality show.
Right.
No kidding. Or the surreality show.
No kidding. No kidding.
MARYAM, maybe move your camera up a little bit here. I'm missing part of your face with my screen overlay there, but I couldn't remove. Oh, yeah, that's a little bit better, or just a little bit.
May I tell you? May we? I got so close to the president.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have a clip that shows just how close, because it was like showed some friends are like, you got that close, so I can share that story. I think that's PC. I don't know if you want to. Do you want to show the clip? I think it's the first link, and then I can explain, or should I explain before and set it up? What makes more sense?
Right. Give me just a moment here, MARYAM. I'm just going to set up some of the technical stuff. Let me get this banner out of the way because, of course, Joe's going to join us here too, and we're going to run out of screen here in just a moment. So bear with me here as I kind of rejig the layout.
Rejig away, rejig.
There you go. So now that's a little bit more room. Hello, Lasha. Nice to see you. Okay,
Meow.
So that's that. And also, what did I just want to accomplish? I forgot I had something else I wanted to do. Somebody's saying there's a crackle in my audio. I've just adjusted now. Let me know, guys, how I sound in the live chat now. So give me a 5/5 if my audio is back to par. Now, okay, MARYAM, so going back to your chat, the first Twitter link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me bring that up for the screen for everyone here.
Maybe may I set it up first? I think it makes more sense to set it up.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to set up this episode here too. Again, for people who are just joining us now, please do take the link from this video and do share it right now if you can on your social media platform, because it's possible that this video won't be up for too long. We are going to be talking about sensitive material, and I think MARYAM and I are quickly going to put it in unlisted mode afterwards, or maybe on our Patreon channels also. So please do a favor to your fellow neighbor and friend here by sending them the link right now while we're live, so that we can get more eyes on this as possible. So we're going to go through again the events leading up to and on January 6th, and then as our roundtable continues to grow here, we're going to do this live role action play a game for you guys and have some fun. So MARYAM, why don't you set up this clip here before I play it, and we'll start the show.
When I was in Miami, I missed the opportunity. Zach went to hear President Trump, and I really wanted to get close so I can read his energy and get a vibe, which may, not for your audience, but to others might sound woo-woo. So we woke up at around 5:30 in the morning, and there was so many people walking. Then Zach was speaking. There was a chance that I was going to speak later on. So he was given a VIP pass by Ali Alexander, who is one of the organizers, who I can get into a little bit later, because there's been some negativity that's come out on him about tainting this this whole event. Anyway, so we get a VIP pass, but we can't keep our backpacks. So everybody there gets in, but they literally have to leave their backpack outside. So there was like mountains of backpacks just trusting. I had camera equipment, so I ended up, Zach was going to practice his talk, so he took some of our stuff. I went in. I was actually with Jenny Moonstone, so I got to see. So we got like, I was like, I'm four seats back. Alex Jones was there, Owen Benjamin, others. There was a producer that I saw that I was at his house years ago. I didn't know he was a conservative. Anyway, so this is just a short little clip more. And this was the first time that I witnessed, and maybe you too, a bulletproof glass.
Okay, let me bring that back up. Sorry, I was looking for a clip of you with Jenny here, because I think I had some pictures I wanted to show the audience. So we'll get back to that in a sec. And yeah, okay, so now Jenny, I'm calling you Jenny now. See what you did? MARYAM, do you want me to bring the audio for this? Do we need to see the audio?
Yeah, you can hear the audio.
Okay, let me bring that up. Try to adjust this for the audience here. All right, we're going to play this. Let me know if you hear it okay.
Campaign the most of any incumbent president by far in the history of our country. 12 million more people than 4 years ago. And I was told by the real pollsters, we do have real pollsters, they know that we were going to do well, we were going to win. When I was told, if I went from 63, almost 75 million people voted for our campaign, the most of any incumbent president by far in the history of our country. 12 million more people than 4 years ago.
Was that just me, or did they jump and replay the same thing?
No, I don't know. I didn't see that.
It just, okay, so let me continue with the clip here. Right, it's on repeat. Okay, so that's the same clip playing twice there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's only 28 seconds.
Okay. Very cool. Love to hear woo-woo material, Carlos. Yes, and Joe, the king of woo-woo, is coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. MARYAM, let's go on here and continue the documentation with some of your videos. You want me to bring up the next clip now here?
Sure. Just if you want to hear, like, my vibe was that he's not an evil man, but he is a reality TV actor. And he's playing himself. I get a good feeling. I mean, if I scan a Kamala or a Joey, I don't get a good feeling. And the amount I was crying, there's another clip, I didn't put it on Twitter, of footage me leaving, and the sea of the crowd from the ellipse all the way to the monument. It's like there is no way in hell that Joey got that many people. Anyway, okay, so now I can set this up. This is inside the rotunda. So I was gonna go to a talk in the Freedom Plaza.
Hey, can I put you on hold for just a sec, Maryam? I want to go back to what you just said here and why it's so important and why I'm putting you on hold. And I'm also going to ask Dave to chime in. What I'm trying to do with this channel here moving forward is not be CNN. I don't want to necessarily have to talk about every little detail that happens during the day. I believe that part of my role here, and I think Maryam also, because you just mentioned it, we're talking about frequencies here. We're talking about getting that inner knowing, using those abilities that we have to discern the world that is transforming around us. And you just touched that here while you were trying to read into this individual that was speaking on the podium. And I think that's very important. I just finished a 2-hour live chat with Penny Kelly, and the whole point of it all there too was to go and see these events here as catalysts for change, for expansion of consciousness. And I think that's really, really the key point I want to bring here to the audience here, so that we can see these, one, as catalysts for change, but two, so that we can empower ourselves to go from fear to power and not drop into the fear frequency or the depression frequency that the mainstream media is trying to impose upon us now. So I'll come back to you in a minute, Maryam, with that statement. Dave, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you see maybe our role here in trying to hold the line for this frequency?
Let's define our on this call, our everybody joining, our US, worldwide, humanity. Let's define that, and then
all of the above, and then in the other dimensions as well. Because as we're speaking here, even people who are not on our live stream are hearing the frequency of this transmission, right, and it's permeating through space and through the different dimensions. So that's the answer. It's all.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Yeah, for everybody here on this planet at this time, you won't be surprised when I say we're here because we made that choice for whatever lessons and whatever manifestation we're supposed to create while we're here. So there's that context. That's just a very generic, general context. But specifically for, really, I'm going to speak primarily to your audience and the live audience and those that will be viewing later, and maybe those that would view if they had known about you, is to put our focus on those higher frequencies and be mindful of who are those that are, these principalities that are not working in our best interest, and those who are. Maryam mentioned how she sees Trump as an actor, and I'm not sure the context there, Maryam. An actor as in he's done the reality TV actor, or right now an actor. So I'd ask you to kind of clarify that for me, and then I want to expand on my answer just a little bit more.
Okay, sure. Maryam, back to you.
Just to keep in mind that this person, is known for being cast in a reality show, and that I believe more and more that this is, just entertain that it's political theater for an objective, and that he is playing that role. If he's not, but he's not an evil, I don't get an evil a sense from him.
Right.
Okay. Dave,
thank you. I suspected that's what you meant. And yeah, it's all theater. We are so many layers removed. I think it's good for us to remind ourselves that the data that we get is several layers removed from the conversations happening between the people that have the real power and the real influence. So we have to use our discernment. We have to use our intuitive abilities as well to kind of pick up on what's the frequency, what's the energy there. So really, this idea of discernment, being aware of the context, we're seeing so many layers removed, and it is a play. I agree with you, Maryam. I think Donald Trump's heart is truly in the right place. Recently, I listened to his audiobook, The Art of the Deal, just because I wanted to learn more about the guy. Like, what's the Trump that got recorded, documented before he got into political office? And I got the same sense from that audio recording. Now, he wasn't all, love and light, wasn't the energy necessarily came through, but a person of integrity, a person who of sound values, and a person who does things right. He might negotiate, but he's a right-minded, just person. So that's my answer. Hopefully that helps.
Very good. So back to you here, Maryam, as you open this Pandora's box here, talking about reading into the frequency and using discernment, which is key, especially now, and of course in the next couple of days as things are going to crack up. Touch on that a little bit here. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I mean, I would like to get into it. The what has ensued since this event, which is arguably a false flag. But I'll give another example of, just because it is really a muscle, right? To be able, I read people, I'm clairaudient, I can pick up a lot from a voice. I pick up stuff. So I'll give you an example. One of the main organizers of Stop the Steal has been Ali Alexander. Now, I came across Ali last year on Twitter, him doing a Periscope. And when I heard him, and again, this is a generalization, but I was like, who is this asshole? This guy is kind of a dick. And he then saw him accusing people of things that he's doing himself, like accusing the left of arguably things he's doing. So I was just like, I don't trust this guy. All right. So now there are articles that have just come out, and I was telling that to my team while we were there at DC, and then I also got close to him because he gave the VIP, and definitely I'm right. And now there's articles. I mean, yes, it's the Daily Beast and it's Will Summer. He's a felon. Arguably, he's infected other campaigns, and now he's kind of in hiding, for lack of a better word, or not as visible. Let's say that. So that's another example of, you just use your sense of discernment. Oh, another thing, and I'll get to that. I'm helping out in arguably an investigation for the legal Trump team. Just so happened magically, and I'm looking at my footage, and I'm going through and finding still images of people who are arguably not patriots. Like, that game, or like what in this picture doesn't fit. Like, there was one guy dressed as Where's Waldo. Now, I'm not saying he's in on the attack or anything, but it was like ironic, like, where's the Antifa? Like, where are they hiding? This guy had a Portland Antifa Lost vibe to him.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. We're gonna really get into all of this as we continue on the show. There was a person on the chat a few minutes ago saying, "Hey, I love the woo woo." Where's that chat? Let me bring that back up. Of course, I just lost it on the buffer. Where is it? Anyways, oh, here, Carlos. Carlos is saying, I love to hear woo-woo material. And of course, the king of woo-woo himself is joining us now. No, it's no other than JSnip4. Of course, you can find his work at patreon.com/JSnip4. Let me bring him on the screen now for you guys. Joe, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Actually, pretty good.
Hey, dude, I really like
background
your poster. Let me bring that poster up.
Look at that. Oh, wow.
That's cool.
It's got woo-woo dude as the other guy.
That's awesome. I love it. And of course, Carlos was probably telecasting the fact that we were going to talk about woo-woo tonight. So thank you, Carlos, for that in the chat. Joe, as we just move around here, we're going to get to some more of the footage that Maryam took on January 6th. But give us your quick thoughts here on the need to use discernment right now and to keep that frequency high within ourselves so that we can hold that line for everybody else here who's about to hit this shock wall, as Cliff High said maybe a couple of weeks ago, saying that this narrative was about to break. And he was encouraging people, of course, to take control of their chi, to extend their force field here. Talk about that a little bit here as we start the show.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, you can have all the discernment you want. There's going to be so much misinformation, especially on both sides, because neither side's going to tell the other side what they're going to do, including the good guys. Then, Trump's going to be live tonight. No, he's not. He's going to be live tomorrow night. No, he's not. Is he or isn't he? Where is he? He's going to be on Newsmax. No, he's not. What's happening? Where's he at? Just crazy, stuff. But we do see video of what looks like troops on the streets of DC. Does appear that that's happening. I saw some video, and I think this was in Texas, where they were running around at a truck stop with like pretty heavy machinery, military machinery, and someone was filming it out of the front of their truck. And so these troops are getting ready to do something. And we've been told all this time it would be under the guise of protecting the Capitol, riot control. And don't know if you guys know this, but Nancy Pelosi was not in the Congress House today.
I did not know
and
that.
She put someone else in charge. There's a term for it. It's kind of like a, power of attorney, if you will, for her, letting another representative be her for the day. And that took place. So Mrs. Big Mouth, Big Shot, 25th Amendment Pelosi was not at work today.
Yeah.
Where is Nancy? Should be the new trending thing on Twitter. Where's Nancy?
This is after being with Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes. And let's remember that Nancy's the one who said, even if we have to fumigate him. And as I was getting tear gassed, I was like, wow, isn't this ironic? Like, isn't this some symbology that we're all getting tear gassed? And it doesn't make sense. 8 days to go. You want to impeach the president and invoke 25th Amendment?
Yeah, unless you're terrified, absolutely terrified that something might be about to happen to you and your cronies. And I think that's why she skipped work today, be honest with you.
Because that whole story, we're worried he's and she's going to hit the nuclear button, blah, blah, blah.
Nobody, he incited violence. We're branding him off of all the I keep saying it. Somebody please send, I haven't got an email yet.
Yeah.
Somebody show me where President Trump said anything even kind of like violence, attack, take over, nothing.
You know what the last line?
Okay, hold on a second, Joe. We challenge everybody who's watching this show now to put a link to any video where you see that. On the contrary, we had the video of Trump saying, hey, we need peace, go home, we need law and order. And of course, that's the first video that Twitter deleted on that day. And then eventually, of course, disconnected the complete account. So
I was listening to the radio. I was listening to the radio.
Hold on just a sec. On one hand, we don't have a video of Trump actually inciting violence. But if you go back, there's a bunch of people who've already done this over the last year. You see a bunch of Democrats openly calling for riots in the street and insurrections and all of this stuff with Antifa and BLM. Those videos are still everywhere on YouTube to be found, but yet we can't find one of Trump actually inciting violence. Dave.
Yeah, thanks, JC. So I was running errands today. I was out looking at cars, as I was telling JC earlier.
Hold on. Crusty cars or just cars?
What do you expect from me?
Crusty cars. Mr.
Crusty Car Man. Anyway, so getting to the point. So I got the radio on, which I don't normally listen to because that's mainstream. And I think it was like the local channel. And there was a rhino, if you know what I mean, who had who was interested in the impeachment, so he's supporting that. And he quoted that Trump said people should march to the Capitol. And he was using that as the call to violence to justify the impeachment. That's the best he had.
That's what the mainstream, I was watching CNN, MS, and NBC yesterday to see what lies they're spewing. And they are cutting the line where he says, we have to show strength. So he says, march to the Capitol. And he says, in these times we have to show strength, and so they're using the word strength as the stretch for.
Like they spliced it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, come on, guys. Come on, man. Come on.
man.
I want to show this YouTube channel here. This, of course, is Chasing Crusty Cars. It's a new passion of our friend Dave here, who's an aficionado mostly of Volkswagen. But Dave, anyways, welcome to the show. And did you actually buy the piece you were looking at today?
For those that are curious, I was looking at a 71 VW Squareback, and not sure I'm going to do the deal. Not sure I'm going to do the deal, but it's possible. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Okay.
I got enough irons in the fire already.
Awesome. Well, our friend Dave has retired here, so he's amusing himself with all of these cool little projects. And we'll do more shows on that as we go on. Maryam, let's set up here. I had your second clip ready to go. Do you want to set this up here before I play it? Let me find this again here. So this, the tear gas. Okay, let me bring that up. There you go.
Okay.
Do you want to set it up, or do you want me to play it right now?
I'd like to set it up. So I was walking, and I asked, and as I'm walking, it's freezing, and I ended up walking to the Freedom Plaza. Couldn't find the speakers. Walking to the Capitol, then walking back to the Freedom Plaza, then walking back to the Capitol. So I walked like 10 miles. So I go there, and I was looking for Zach. I was by myself, and like I said, I got sideswiped by Antifa, people running by, and I fell to the ground. Then get there, and I walked in past the rotunda, which is what you're looking at, the still, and I got mildly tear gas, but I'm claustrophobic, so I left, and I walked out, and then I prayed, because Zach had sent me a message and said, go to the hotel. Hello, is history happening? I'm not gonna. Why am I here to go hang out at the Moxie Hotel? So I made a prayer and I said, please I want to find someone. So I was scanning energetically the area for someone, and went up to this gentleman. And I don't know what made me say this. Are you Matt? Do you work with Matt Couch? And he did work with Matt Couch. So he was his videographer. So he goes, do you want to go back in there? And I'm like, yeah. So got back in there where the left of the rotunda. This is where the door is. They're, trying to break through. And this is where I guess eventually the woman, I don't know where she actually got killed, shot. But so I can see what's happening. And I can see, like, for instance, there's one guy in here that's where, like, has his camera. So not this clip, but he's in there. When I scan back at it, he's not acting like, he's treating it like a prop. He's not acting like a real photographer. And so then there's another guy, that guy in the image that has a big ass shield. There's people that came there with things and they don't fit in, and they're arguably Antifa fake MAGA supporters.
Okay. I guess after we play this clip, we have to, if you don't already have it, talk about the fact that it appears, at least by some angles, that the police were actually opening the gates and inviting people to rush the Capitol. And that, of course, was not published on CNN, but there's a lot of those clips around to be found. So let me play this clip here now. Let me bring that volume up.
This is only 10 seconds.
Okay. Okay, and it's funny here how you weren't allowed to be anywhere close to there with a pack sack, but these people are bringing up like shields and a whole bunch of other things. How did they get through? Your thoughts on that, Maryam?
Well, when I was walking there was one guy who the cops were, a fleet of cop cars were going in, and this one guy's like, don't let the cops in, don't let the cops in. But listen, the only way you can storm a Capitol is if someone lets you storm a Capitol. I'm sorry, this is Washington, D.C. Capitol. And then you saw, I think Jason Crow, congressman for Colorado, put out a letter yesterday saying they thought that, like, past events, there would only be a few thousand people, like on December 14th. I don't think there was a few thousand people on December 14th. I don't know if Bowser didn't call enough people. I know the Coast Guard, there was a request, and it was denied. And then, yes, we have footage of the gates being let open and the cops saying, come in. I have other footage that in my file of the doors on the side and people going in. So what you end up having is a bystander effect, because so as I'm walking, I'm like, where are you guys going? They're going to the Capitol. Why? Oh, Trump and Pence is a traitor. That's funny. I'm telling this guy, I'm listening to the hearing right now for Pence, and he only went on late in the second half. So where are you guys getting that? Then I find out there was a 2.5 letter that Pence said basically he wasn't going to dispute it. There was an article in Gateway Pundit. So if you have agitators in the crowd going, Pence is the traitor, Pence is the traitor. So for instance, you have people saying, hang Pence. So then you have my friend Mickey Willis, director of Plandemic, all over the media now. He's in the forefront, and people in the background saying hang Pence. And now the media is saying Plandemic director Mickey Willis is a domestic terrorist. So seems staged to me.
Did you get to see, let me bring this picture up here. See if I can bring this up. Did you see that? Was that true? Did somebody do a makeshift hanging station there? Okay. Because I was like, again, people are having trouble coming in with their pack sack. Yeah, somebody can build this on the fly. Like, to me, again, I'm like, what is this show we're watching?
I think the scale of it is a small, tiny object in the foreground and the Capitol way back. So I think the scale is a little misleading.
That could be too. Joe, did you see this? Any clips of this?
I've seen that picture, but I have no idea if it's real or fake.
Okay. Maryam, back to you, or Joe or Dave. Do you have anything to add on the idea here that the storming of the Capitol seems, at the very least, and of course this is a live role action playing game we're doing here completely for your entertainment. Does it seem contrived and organized to that specific goal and effect, or was that actual just human nature overcoming the forces here of security?
Well, there's a lot of talk about the timing of things, and Maryam has probably maybe picked up on a bit of that. My understanding was that as Trump was talking, and he was talking later than planned and longer than planned. So there were the mega supporters who are all there listening to him, and at some distance is Capitol Hill, and there are people who had anticipated that the talk would end sooner, and they're already staged and ready to do what they're going to do. Those people whose group starts with an A. So that it seems like that would expose them for the planned, contrived work they're going to do. So Maryam, did you see something to validate that, or Joe, do you have some input on that?
Yeah, my comment is exactly the same. But again, Trump and them knew this was going to happen. That's why he was late. It's why he set him up, and it's why they were able to go in there. And I wasn't sure if it was fake news or not about these laptops were stolen from Nancy Pelosi and maybe Chuck Schumer and some others. But I finally found some general, it looked like he was sitting in the White House or some hall of somewhere, where he said, they went in, and these were military operatives basically that went in during this takedown of the Capitol and snatched those laptops. And that's why Nancy and them are in an absolute panic all of a sudden, because whatever's on those laptops is devastating and they don't have them anymore. And as soon as that happened, that's when she came out on the same day, basically condemning, we're going to 25th Amendment, we're going to impeach, and went crazy. And now, again, she didn't show up to work. When would that loudmouth, big shot, egomaniac not show up? We're going to go impeach Trump. I'm going to be, here's my gavel. Sorry.
Yeah, they've won. So why are they in hiding? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. And here, you mentioned this in your video earlier today, or I believe last night. Simon Parks and Charlie Ward. I'm not sure who this Danielle person is. I hadn't seen her before. But anyways, they gave an update, and this is the second or third video that Simon talks about these laptops, and that, of course, the infiltrators had been infiltrated. They knew this was going on, and it was an attempt, or at least there were maybe some Marines, some Spec Ops guys disguised there also to get their hands on these laptops. And of course, right after that, suddenly we had to not only impeach Trump, but also invoke the 25th. So we can't even wait 10 days, even though we just won and we just certified the vote. So what's the problem, right? Maryam, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, yes. I mean, of course, Trump knew. We all knew A was going to infiltrate, right? So there is talk that that's why he was late. Goodness, I was waiting in the freezing cold. I had this heated vest, thank God. But for 3.5 hours to see him, and so it was, the timeline was knocked off. The only thing that seems really rubs me the wrong way is this death, is the fact that this, and I did look at the footage many times from different angles. I've had some people say that she's not dead, but after everything that we've learned all summer with police brutality, so forth, for him to just, yes, she's going through the window, but for them to pick up the gun and just him point, and apparently he's resigned today. That's disturbing in if it's a sting operation. And what else is disturbing is that there isn't mention of A, there's mention of Q.
Oh yeah, of course. That's who's controlling the mainstream narrative.
And right off the bat, there was no blood. It's only when the camera pans off and then back on when there's blood shown. When you get shot,
yeah,
you instantly have blood splatter. It would, especially in the neck, it's just going to go in and out. You're going to have blood splatter right off of that. That guy is not playing with a small caliber. It's at least a 9mm, probably a 40.
It looked like a Glock 21, actually, so that would be a 45 ACP.
Yeah, could have even been that. Yeah, it's at least 9.
And I agree with you. If you're shot in the neck, I mean, that thing is splattering 15 feet away instantly. So,
and the police were 5 steps behind her. They come in with their SWAT, and then like everyone's like, "Look at the SWAT. They look like jabroni SWAT. Like, are those real SWAT?" You know, people were like questioning that. Very odd.
I want to be careful here again. Live action role playing game, the complete nonsense. What we're talking about, we're just having fun. It's for entertainment purposes only. But it reminds me of some of those old Al Qaeda videos where people were trying to, you know,
6 times.
So here you have the cameras, like, and there's still no blood. So I'm like, oh, come on.
Like, who put that out there?
Glove? Like, come on, a rubber knife. Sorry, what I'm looking for. So, yeah, again, though, we don't know. We're not there. And it's possible that from these vantage points, we don't have the full picture. So it's very hard to quarterback or to armchair quarterback this thing. And I don't want to be disrespectful if the person did actually lose their lives here. But another thing to mention there, too, Mike Adams was talking about this yesterday too. He's like, well, if she's coming up from the from higher up in the window, the police officer was kind of more pointing horizontally. There's no way he got her
and
that angle, and on the other side of the neck, it was the wrong angle. So Mike was saying, well, maybe it's a ricochet off the wall, maybe it's a splinter or a shrapnel or something like that. But anyways, there's a lot wrong with that picture. And even when she was rolled out, it was the foggiest, shittiest picture video from mainstream media I've ever seen. So I'm like, of course it's always fogged out. You can't see anything. Go ahead, Maryam.
I have a question. Yeah. So when I'm looking back, like just scanning the event, and there's something about that death that's like, Maryam, something's off with this. Something's off. So my question to you gentlemen, has there been in the past any time where she is in military that then they come out and go, oh, she's alive? Has that ever happened?
No.
Not that I know of.
Okay. So
her backpack was up by her neck when she landed. She flies out of the window like, you know, she got this huge blast. She lands right on her backpack like it was a pillow up behind her neck. I mean, not on her back, right on her neck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how strange is that? What was in the backpack?
Yeah, the footage.
No, strange that she even had one because they were all taken. It was strange that she even had one because they were all taken, as you witnessed, Maryam.
Backpacks. Yeah, how did she have a backpack? No one else could.
Mm-hmm.
How did any of those people have backpacks?
Yeah, there were several.
They stormed the Capitals. No, they stormed. So at that point, it's past the VIP. It's not the talk. Right. So
but those would have been people who should have already been sitting there right after Trump was late. They're just sitting there waiting for the go signal. So they probably should have passed through something to where they would have been able to have those backpacks. You know, those were the first people in, supposedly.
One's at the ellipse and one is at the other. It's not the same location. I think that. I mean, just look at that guy John Sullivan. He gets arrested and then let go, catch and release. This is someone who's on the A side and who's there. There's footage of Millie Weaver asking him what went on. And the point is, there's no mention. All summer, we have seen violence, fire, deaths, injury. This one time, and okay, so yesterday I'm writing a story about my experience, and I'm like, okay, so what is the mainstream media other than TV saying? It so happened that I searched 6 minutes after Wikipedia came out with their official rendition of what happened. Let me tell you what it is. The 2021 storming of the United States Capitol was a riot and violent attack against the 117th United States Congress on January 6th, carried out by supporters of U.S. President Donald Trump's attempt to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election. After attending a rally organized by Trump, thousands of his supporters marched down Pennsylvania Avenue before many stormed the U.S. in an effort to disrupt the Electoral College vote count during a joint session. Actually, this was rewritten since yesterday, because yesterday they were saying that he incited the violence. Now it's changed, so it's not as dramatic. But this is going down now in history. Ministry of Truth actively rewriting what's happened for at least a million who are there, including myself. This is not what happened. It was peaceful. When I went to bed the first night, I could feel this really dark energy, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is where the swamp is. And I could feel equally this amazing amount of energy of the people, like to the point of bringing tears to my eyes of all these people who've showed up for Trump compared to this swamp energy.
Dave and Joe, do you want to add to that before we go to the next slide?
No.
I will just mention, as you mentioned the tears, Maryam, I remember seeing that short video clip of you panning with your camera, and I could hear you crying. I could hear your emotion. So personally witnessed that, and that was pretty profound.
Yeah, it was pretty profound. All those people so early in the morning, like who would do that for Joey? Yeah,
flying from their home on their own dime,
without
taking
jobs
risks.
Potentially because of COVID bullshit.
Yeah. Maybe they're spending their $600 check to get there. You know, it's like the sacrifices people were making, time away from their families, risk of what could happen while they're there. As Maryam had some close encounters to testify to that fact, that risk.
Okay. Next clip, Maryam, is this one here you sent me. I'm just going by the order you sent me, Maryam. So do you want to set this one up?
Yeah. Well, this is the continuation after the 10-second clip. I'm with Jason, and let's just play it.
Okay.
You can see all those guys with their masks and black stuff on, like they're right at the front.
Right.
Say that again, John.
Like they're all Antifa, like in the front. You can just see them with their dark face masks. You know, some of them aren't even trying to pretend to be Trump supporters.
Right. Yeah, let me bring the volume up. Sorry, guys.
Sir, how long you been here? How long you been here? Oh my God. So who's throwing the tear gas? Is it Antifa dressed up as?
No. I don't believe so.
Well, that's what we heard, that they were gonna come in here. What's the goal here?
just to drag the guys out so that we can get in and save America.
Why are you going to save America with destruction?
No, we're pulling them out just to get them out of the way. We got to get the swamp out of Washington, D.C. You can't get the swamp out of Washington, D.C. if you don't grab them by the back of their collars, drag them out. We don't want to harm nobody. We just want to drag them out. They're not doing what they do.
So that statement the gentleman was making there, Maryam, what did you make of him as he was making that? What would you read? Is he scripted? Is he one of those Manchurian candidate types that doesn't know what he's talking about? What were your feelings?
You can hear what I said. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I told him, what is this, an episode of Game of Thrones? Like, he seemed like he's just saying, oh, use the swamp word. We're trying. I was like, this is not. What are you talking about? We're just gonna remove them? What? I don't know. I just didn't get this as a patriot. But hey.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Some of these how do we say shootings that have happened? They've got people sitting there, just standing there like this, waiting for cameras to come by. I was eyewitness. This is what I saw. And they just stand around, walking around, and that's all the people you see. And if there's anybody there that was not part of the incident who actually saw some shit, and they're like, somebody interview me, for God's sakes, interview me, please. They won't be interviewed. You don't see them on TV. They're not on CNN. Only those particular people are on CNN. And they just stand around waiting to be. So there's people who will literally sit there. They've got the full story ready to go. Just like on 9/11, by the way. It's one of the first times we ever saw that. Yeah, the building, one thing hit out the other day. Just pancakes, the pancake effect. The whole thing went down.
We can hear the explosion downstairs in the basement, one after the other. Yeah, exactly.
So I think there's people who are, again, you have a complete set. You got people who have roles, and they just fill their roles. And
right.
I think you may have got one of those guys. It sounded like it.
Yeah. Exactly. Just before you remember, we were background extras in this is a show. I didn't get that this. I was just like, this guy seems off. Like he was like, here's some lines. If someone asks you, then there was other clips that I have that as soon when I'm looking back at it, when I put my camera, they put their face down. They turn away. There's another picture I have with a clip. It's this black guy on a standing up. His face is down. He has a big scarf, but his face is down the whole time with his glasses. And he's just, it seems like he's someone watching out. There's like different levels that I was told to categorize people because, yeah, there is an investigation. And I ended up the next day meeting Rudy. I was like, I felt so honored. I'm like listening to him this whole time. And then, they are looking to find these fake MAGA supporters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have the next video you sent me. Is this the right one, Maryam? In sequence here? Okay. You want to set it up? You want me to just press play?
So I questioned someone who was there with me witnessing, who has worked for the Trump administration, a very smart gentleman, kind gentleman. Go ahead. You can play it.
Okay, I'm going to try to make it full screen. Dave was asking me so people can see it a little bit better. So we'll disappear off the screen here while I try to do that. Hopefully the sound still goes through when I do that. So let me give that a try. Here we go.
America, we are under attack, not by these police officers necessarily, but by the deep state. Here we are in the middle of a militant, leftist, deep state, globalist operation trying to make Trump supporters look like idiots and that we're violent agitators. With truth and fact, there are people dressed up in MAGA hats and other gear that are pretending to be MAGA supporters, and they're instigating, and they're playing on the emotions of Trump supporters. Listen to this. These are people that love the cops. We love the police, but you, Antifa, dressed up as Trump supporters, causing violence and stirring up violence here at the Capitol steps. And they're playing on the notions of you and every patriotic American. This is not right. It is not necessarily their fault either. We just been tear gas. I reported live from here in the Capitol. DC Patriot. Follow Real Matt Couch. I'll see you guys soon.
Oops. Let me go back here. Did I lose you guys? There you go. Did you guys hear that okay? When I went full screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Any thoughts on that, Joe?
Well, you see Light Queen Lisa's comment. My friend has pics that show the police not facing the riot, but actually watching the Trump supporters and seem to be keeping Trump supporters from stopping the Antifa.
Wow. Yeah.
There was many patriots saying to stop the violence. I mean, you heard in the beginning, taking weapons away, acting. I mean, it was overall a very peaceful, respectful event. You can't blame people for the bystander effect of going in to the Capitol to see what is going on, especially if they're being let in. And unfortunately, who is setting the record straight here?
Right. Well, and I'll add this too. Again, back on the laptops. Now, someone just posted a comment there too. Hey, she said herself the laptop was stolen, according to that person. And I believe it because I think I heard the same thing.
She did.
So if we had Antifa at the front lines and we have this 17th letter of the alphabet board long ago telling us infiltration instead of, what was the word they used? Infiltration instead of
Invasion.
My.
Do you think maybe some of those Antifa at the front line may not have been Antifa? And when they let them in, they knew they were going to be let in because they were undercover and were part of the script, so to speak.
Right.
Got let right in. Oh, yeah, we're going to go do our thing, except we're actually going to go over there and take the laptop. See ya, I'm out. And they
Well,
were
there's
let
a
right
video
in.
clip that is in a stairwell. People are coming downstairs. A lot of you have probably seen it. And there are two gentlemen. They got masks on and coats and thick coats on. And one guy somebody was trying to, a MAGA person was apparently trying to like pull him back. And he said, I'm not trying to be Antifa, or I'm not Antifa. Something like that. I think he said, I'm not trying to be Antifa.
I'm not trying to be Antifa.
Yeah. And that was, people are citing that as a fairly telling indication that that person was neither MAGA nor the A-team.
None of the above.
Yeah.
Like when Lisa, don't text me. If you want me to do this on the show, send it to my email, and it'll be easier for me to plug it directly from that browser here onto my live stream. So please don't text me, but send it to me on email. I'll try to share those pictures with the audience. And she also said the video didn't go through. So if you have a link to that video somewhere on Twitter or whatnot, also send me that by email. So thank you, Lisa, for that contribution. Next video here was, go ahead, Maryam.
I just have a question, maybe for Joe. What is, if it's a sting operation, what is the legalities of taking a House Speaker's computer?
Well, again, like we keep hearing, FISA works both ways. And if they have the legal authority to do so, because if we're operating, and I say we're, the military, let's say, is operating under one of his executive orders, again, they could possibly be operating since he literally took office in 2017 or 18, when they realized the Russian collusion was a lie, all this was a lie, the FISA was a lie. We now have the authority to act as if this was a coup attempt on the presidency, super secret operations, military intelligence only. They have the authority to do effing anything, technically, because of the emergency potentially that they're working under, even though it hasn't quite been made public. That's my take on this. So if they're going to go in and quote unquote steal a laptop, they didn't steal it. They had the authority to take the damn thing. And maybe again, if they have insiders, maybe they advise her and her friends, guys, make sure you take those laptops today with you at work because I'm getting word on the street that your houses are going to get raided, when you're at the Capitol today. Oh, okay. So they all took it in. And then this little crap happened. And then they went in, took the laptop, basically. So they were misfed information, basically, fake intelligence to Nancy and them to bring your laptops in. I mean, I'm just assuming. And then the guys came in, the military ops came in and snatched it because we were all told a long time ago, we have infiltrated all of these things.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite guys on Twitter, Entheo Shines, who's now been wiped out, had said, when he left for 3 months, he goes, surely you guys don't think I was just on vacation, do you? And then he's back. So it's like they were planning some shit. Like, I think this is textbook, dot your I's, cross your T's, military operation with epic precision that we'll likes of which we've never even seen or will ever understand until afterwards.
Right.
And we're going to look at some shit and go, oh my God, that was them? They did what? They did, oh my, like it's going to be, you know, like a movie, like they're going to make a movie out of this. It'll be so epic, I think.
I think it's epic, and look at that poster shot there. Woo woo, dude! I love it, folks. If you like what we're doing here, please help support us here. And let me bring that tweet back into the main chat for you guys. Please retweet that. Take the link to this video, send it to your friends, send it to your family. These are the days now where we have to provide this information to the mass audience. And I think this is why, of course, mainstream media is doing what it's doing now to prevent all of this stuff from happening. Here's a way for you to fight back peacefully, and it is to share all of these messages. And these are people, again, MARYAM here was boots on the ground, and she has a very unique perspective to share with you guys. And a lot of your friends and families and neighbors have not had the benefit to hear this conversation because they only have access to the mainstream news. So please do go and forward this video to everyone while it is still up. And also, I'd like to remind you, of course, please do go subscribe to MARYAM HENEIN's new YouTube channel here. Of course, her first one, like me, was also deleted. I believe this is your third video, MARYAM, and I'm not laughing. I know how hard it is. I'm laughing because otherwise I'd cry.
No, it's okay. I'm so upset with like the purge on Twitter. It's like a lot of my truth warriors, like, you know, Sarah Westall's gone, Dr. Janda is gone, Sean is gone, and it's like, so like, why? And then they took 7,000 people away from me. So I'm very, and I'm not posting. I said that I'm not going to post for a while because I'm scared to lose my. Then Gab was down today.
Let me go a little bit further here to help support you here, MARYAM. So first of all, folks, again, it's up to you. I'm looking at you now. Help us with this fight. And if all you do today on this fight for truth and freedom is for this video, well, that's one thing. And we can all move that needle, you know, even if it's a millimeter to the light side here. Let's all do it. It's at no cost to you. Also, please do subscribe to my channel here. Of course, mine is also here on the backup, and we are trying to rebuild the community that was taken away from us here last month. So I do really appreciate it if you guys can hit that subscriber bell. Now, it's not only censorship, it's not only removing the right for people to speak and to share their truth. What's happening right now is also economic warfare. Now, MARYAM and I have both been demonetized. She just mentioned Sean, SGT reports, Sarah, all of her friends who've been on the show, they've been demonetized. So has our friend here on screen, Jason 4, quite a few months ago. And MARYAM, now this is ratcheted up to an even higher level. Can you explain to people what's happening now with your business as well, and how you're being targeted there for being a truth seeker?
On January 6th, there was very poor reception in DC. So on the plane, I learned that on January 6th, Square shut down my merchant processor, my ability to transact on Simply Transformative. They gave a reason that doesn't jive. High level of transaction, like high amount of anyway, BS. I have no chargebacks. I've been using them seamlessly for CBD, so no way to transact money, like no way to make a living, basically. But it's on simplytransformative.com, not honeycolony.com.
I'm showing this now here because if people do want to support you, of course, here at least the transactions are still going through, and there's quite a few of your Simply Transformative products here on Honey Colony. So maybe explain to people here how they can have access to your products, but also to support you in the meantime.
Yeah, thank you. So honeycolony.com is a magazine and marketplace that's aimed at empowering people to be their own best health advocate. I'm a functional medicine consultant and coach and journalist and entrepreneur, and have reversed lupus and fibromyalgia, which after making my film Vanishing of the Bees was inspired to create a site to empower people. And it's been a long, long journey of being attacked by the FDA, by different organizations, the system, because as you know, your immune system is important and natural remedies help. So you can go to Honey Colony, you can use the code BeyondMystic and get, I believe it's 15% off. Everything's made in the United States. These are all products I use and vet. And so, you can show your support that way, or you can support me directly. I work for free, basically. So my articles and stuff, I don't get paid for them on activist posts. I do it because I'm a journalist, and unfortunately, journalism, I mean, they just killed Tracy Beans on Twitter.
Yeah.
The digital holocaust.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that. And MARYAM, right now too, can people donate to you if they're not ready to buy products? Can they use a PayPal address? Do you have something you can share with the audience there too?
Yes, you can go, because I'm banned from PayPal. So you can go to clifford@honeycolony.com and he will send me the funds to me if you'd like to support me. And it goes to cover content, or if I go for a flight, just to get the truth out, try to get the truth out. Thank you.
Let me just write this into the chat, make sure, and you can spell check me, MARYAM. Clifford with double F at honeycolony.com is your PayPal. Is that correct? I'm going to bring that up here so people can see it. So thank you for that, MARYAM, and thank you.
If anyone has a CBD merchant processor out there,
I think Lisa is into that too. So maybe you guys can connect and see if there's ways around this. I'll put you guys in touch later, MARYAM. And Joe, also, I would be remiss to not mention your Patreon here. You've been doing a lot of great work. Let me get this out of the way here now. You've been doing a lot of great work over the last couple of years, but even now more than ever, as the transformation of our financial system is upon us. So please let the audience know here how they can support you and what your offerings are here on patreon.com/JSNIP4.
So I just do crypto talk and some little bit of woo-woo spiritual stuff in there, my spiritual journey, some stuff I'm going through when things happen to me, or weird cool stories I have about something I did or learned. I put in there, but it's a lot more, mostly crypto, but it's also some of that information comes from the woo-woo world, and sometimes can be pretty epic when we get it. So that's the only thing I got going on these days is my Patreon. So certainly you could come support me there if you'd like, and learn more about cryptos and whatnot if you want.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that, Joe. And thank you everyone for supporting Joe there as well. And Dave, if you had something for me to support, to plug, I do that here. But other than supporting,
actually, I'll just mention,
where can they contact you?
People can reach me on Gab at Empire Builder 1. So Empire Builder 1 is my Gab handle. And also you can look me up on LinkedIn. You see my name on the screen, Dave Bronin. And that's where you're going to get a much better idea about kind of like my background, what I really do, or what I really did up until a few months ago in the corporate world, working as a corporate educator and a troubleshooting geek and a technical professional. So go ahead and connect with me there on LinkedIn. That'd be cool.
Okay, awesome. So back to the show, folks. MARYAM, let me go back here to the private chat here. Do I have the last video? Where are we?
Can I ask a question in regards to Gab, which was down? So on Gab, I signed up to Gab TV and became pro to get verification. You can't upload a video? Like a little clip like on Twitter?
I'm not sure. I haven't tried that yet. Joe, have you?
I haven't either. I don't really use Gab. I was using Parler, and of course they got hit with the ugly stick. Quick.
I witnessed that last night. I'm in the Pacific time zone, and I did my last Parler post saying, "Okay, guys, we'll see you on the flip side." And I hit send. And that's 5 minutes after midnight, and a few minutes later, I refreshed my browser. It's like, that's it, gone. I sent JC a picture of it. But yeah, it's hard to see. And just while we're on this topic of our voices being shut down, and we're talking fantasy world here, guys, but our voices being shut down, I did a post on the social media site that starts with an F, and did a video of a certain general whose last name starts with F, and he was declaring that a certain president will get 4 more years. So I posted that video in response to somebody else's original post. So it wasn't a new post, it was a comment in their post, and I got a warning from Facebook. So you know, I'm feeling it, and I don't have the presence that you guys do. Go ahead, Maryam.
I didn't know they gave strikes.
Yeah, it's maybe I'm not using the right language or term, but they gave me a warning, and there was like a series of 4 or maybe 5 panels, pop-up boxes they'd show. The first one was, here's what you posted, we don't like it. The next one is, here's our rules. And they don't say, you know, as Joe knows through his YouTube work, and JC and Maryam, they don't tell you what you did. They just said, well, here's our rules, and you somehow violated them. And then it got to a point where it gave me 2 radio buttons. One was I could challenge it, or the other is I could just accept it. And I thought, you know, I'm kind of busy. I just want to get past this. I want to get back to Facebook. So I said, I'll accept. And they said, okay, well, therefore, you have this certain status. If you ever do this again, then you're going to, you know, get restricted even further. So I should have challenged it. So anybody has a situation like that, I think challenging is probably your better option.
Then again, role action playing game here. I had a warning. I never had actual strikes on YouTube, and I didn't argue with the warning because I'm like, well, in this case, I know I'm right, but what if more humans come to the show and watch more of my episodes? They'll find even more they don't like. So I didn't want to have another human actually come in and look at the thing, and I was trying to so it's hard to tell at this point. Of course, the rules are so unclear and they're arbitrarily applied across the board. So it's almost a guessing game. M. Lansing is asking, is Maryam still on Patreon? I believe so. I just brought the address on the screen here. So Maryam, this is still functioning to you as a way to support you?
I believe so. You know, I've been meaning to see where does this money go, because I haven't seen any of it.
Well, it would go to your PayPal. And if your PayPal is down, I'm not sure it's up, right?
Well, mine doesn't go through PayPal.
No, you can go directly to your bank account. That's right. Actually, okay. When you go, Maryam, we'll do this off screen. I'll try to help.
Sorry. Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, my friend Steven just texted me, Crypto Karaoke. He says, breaking 8:09 p.m. Eastern, Trump declared state of emergency in D.C.
Yes, we mentioned that at the top of the hour.
Yeah, here it is here. Yeah, it's also on the US Gov website as well. And what does this mean? This plays into what you were saying earlier, Joe, that if we are in a state of an emergency, and of course these executive orders, that gives much more powers to everyone to play here and to get to maybe laptops and stuff like that. You want to just maybe chime in there again, Joe, on the concept?
Well, I mean, theoretically, he's declaring it tonight, not the other day when it happened.
Right.
I don't think he has to declare an emergency. I mean, he's just doing it for whatever reason. He only knows, I guess, why he's doing it right now. But again, I think we're working under some type of, you know, emergency that's not declared. It's a military operation. It's authorized. It's legal. It's hidden. Just like we have sealed indictments and certain things that can be declared and you don't even know it, based off of the severity of what happened. And this was an attempting overthrow of the government. So all things are off the, you know, the Constitution, all that is kind of on hold for those guys to do whatever they have to do, even without him using the words declaring martial law.
Right.
I think they have. Go ahead.
I have a question for you, all of you. So how about this whole, you know, there was a clear path in the Constitution. Pence could have disputed the alternate slate of electors. So take into consideration, we're fed these little crumbs and they build up and they build up and they build up. And then, you know that footage of Jill and Joey for New Year's doing the popper and it's a dud. I feel like this is what this is. I feel like I'm in a dud. Like, I want action.
I'll start. I understand. Yeah, I understand the feeling because I'm like, you could have made arrests months ago easily.
Yeah.
But like with the thing with Trump, you know, some of my people are like, well, wait a minute. I mean, with Pence, they're like, how do you know Pence wasn't just playing a role that he was designed to play and go down as a bad guy at the end because that was his deal? Because if you guys remember, he got one of those cards at the Bush funeral.
Right.
And everybody who looked at those cards, their face was like not happy, especially Jeb Bush. But even Hillary was very unhappy. So they got one too. So I think Pence was put in. We know your plans. We know what you're going to do. Here's the recordings. We had FISA warrants ourselves. You're effed, but you're going to play your role. And at the end of the role, we're going to spare you the potential sentence you're going to get, if maybe no sentence, who knows. So he just played his role. So here's the thing. If he did dispute it, then it goes back into the system to decide what happens. Courts, corrupt, whoever, all these people who it would go back to are corrupt, most of them. So as our friend at 17th Letter has told us, guys, the judges are corrupt, the politicians are corrupt, the entire system's corrupt. Surely you don't think we could go in and arrest these people. We have the information now. We could arrest them now, but if we did that, what would people think? Oh my God, you guys are crazy. What are you doing? So we have to show the people. They kept telling us, we have to show the people before we let them come in for the arrests. Right. And we're going to make sure you see enough that you understand when we pull that trigger and arrest, you're not going to be upset. You're going to be like, oh, well, it's about effing time. So if Pence did object, it would go back into the system, not military control. When Pence did that, that sealed the deal on potential fraud. You know, we don't want to say any truths here. Potential fraud that's being alleged by the president, everybody. And now they sealed the deal. So I also, Tori on Twitter, who's a friend of Entheos, and he's the one that said follow her. She knows her shit because she was a government contractor. So she said, yeah, basically that sealed the deal. And now the 45 days of the executive order from 2018 is in play as of January 6th. It wasn't November 3rd when we're all like, okay, you got 45 days. The election's over. We saw the fraud. Come on. No.
It wasn't?
It wasn't certified yet until January 6th. And Pence, by not objecting, allowed the Congress to go, yep. We want Joe Biden. So now the fraud, if you will, is complete. And now that guy has 45 days. I forget the DNI or whoever it was that was in charge of that. The report. And then on the same day, the signed document from the guy in Italy who allegedly was using the satellite to rig the votes. He got caught. He signed it. I did it, blah, blah, blah. They sent that to Congress supposedly the same day.
Yeah.
And the Department of Defense and some other people. And they still decided, nope, we're going to just let Biden go in. So now I feel that it's complete. It's going to be still handed by the military because the military is going to come in. They're not corrupt. They're not going to be some corrupt judge that gets to rule on the matter. The military is going to say this is a coup, and you guys continue the coup and seal the deal on the coup to save your own asses, and it still didn't work because now we're here. And that's why there's 10,000 of us in Washington, D.C. right now under the guise of protecting the Capitol, inauguration, blah, blah, blah.
With an extra 5,000.
Now, this is my opinion. I will say I'm not some kind of smartest guy in the world. I just study shit, and I make my opinions like everybody else. And I think
live action role playing game here.
I think that's what's going to happen. I went to talk to my insider. He's gone. He's off. I couldn't even message him either. And I'm like, son of a bitch, because I want to ask him. He told me about a year ago. He says, Joe, I'll tell you one thing. Because I'm like, can you give me anything? He's like, I'll tell you one thing. This is right when Corona was kind of happening around March, April. And he goes, there's going to be a time when the president's wife addresses the nation, and the topic is going to be healing. I can't tell you when, but I can tell you that will happen. And that's kind of a marker for some shit to go down. He wouldn't say what. So I'd see little tidbit, oh, is that a joke? Nope. And I would even mention sometimes, oh, she's going to give a speech. Well, he's listening to my videos. He sends me a message, Joe, it's not a speech. She will address the nation in that type of format. And I said, okay. So it finally happened today. Today, the speech happened. And everyone and their mother's emailing me, oh my God, Joe, it finally happened. Holy shit. And I'm like, I know. Well, what happens next? I said, well, I don't know exactly because he didn't say other than this is a big event and look for it because it is a marker for probably some really juicy stuff. So in my opinion, he knew, again, if he knew that then that means they knew the Capitol thing, the invasion, all of it, the laptops, they somehow knew all of this in advance because he knew she'd come out and give a speech about healing, and she's giving a speech about healing because of the violence at the Capitol. So again, how big and who's in charge of this, and how much of this do we even think is Antifa, and it's not even them, it's a military operation? Like, again, I think if we even ever get to know, it's going to be one of the most epic, movie scripts, whatever you ever saw in your life. And you're going to go back and go, holy shit, they really did have control the whole time. I was so scared Trump was going to, oh my God. No wonder why they said nothing can stop what's coming. Nothing. They got this freaking, the military handled this so easily. Holy shit, I was scared. And oh my God, it was epic how they did it. I think that's where we're going to be sitting at in, a month or two. And also Tory says also, Mr. President, replying to his comment, he said, there'll be a peaceful transition of power. Didn't say to who, of course.
Right.
And I won't be attending the inauguration. And she said, don't worry, I won't either, Mr. President, but I will be attending yours in March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's with this
Now,
march?
what the hell is with that? I have no effing idea. I'm trying to figure that one out.
Hold on just a sec. Because, Joe, you opened that can of worms, I have to bring this conversation up here. So let me see if I got the right thing here. iMovie. Okay. So do you guys see that? Where do you guys go? Okay, there you go. Right. So a couple of months ago, and this is a video that got me in trouble in many, many respects. Don't laugh, Maryam. It's not funny.
I see a name that's giving me heartburn.
Right. So here, I had my friends on to discuss whether or not this 17th letter of the alphabet narrative was a big conspiracy, and if we were all being hoodwinked. And in that show, Joe, your position was maybe, but I don't think so. And you went on to explain all the reasons why you didn't think so. And you were quite not convinced, but pretty close to convinced that it was not a conspiracy. Where are you today now that we've seen all of this new stuff transpire? And of course, a lot of people gave you a lot of flack during that show. After that show, they're saying, oh, come on, Joe, you're being hoodwinked. You don't know what you're seeing. What do you say now? Where are you on whether or not this was all a fake as opposed to what's happening now in reality?
Honestly, I think it's on my side. Like, you got that one particular post, Red 1, Red 2, Red 3, Red 4, Red 5, Red 6, that was done, 8 months ago.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
President will be banned off of the social media. Check.
Right.
Power outage or something, right? And then we had freaking Pakistan and Vatican. They're saying, hasn't checked that box yet. Continental U.S. communications down. So everyone needs to be prepared for that, for however long that's going to last. And then Marines present at the Capitol base, essentially in D.C., under the guise, again, of keeping the Capitol safe from protesters, rioters. They said, again, 8 months ago.
Right.
So I know it's been 4 years now. Oh, my God. Why is he waiting so long? He should have did this. Accused, whatever. They're just a conspiracy guy. It's all fake, and you're being misled. I'm like, the one big nugget for me that I always go back to, well, what if they're playing both sides? What if that whole thing's, I said, well, there's one thing in particular that's off limits forever, never, ever, ever cross the line. And that is dealing with child blank, blank, blank.
Yeah.
That was posted all over those boards.
Right.
That would not be necessary for them to do the PSYOP. And if they ever posted that, they would be in big trouble. That's not okay, because even if they're in charge and they're still going to screw us, they just let the cat out of the bag for a whole bunch of people to know, whoa, they're into that shit. Oh my God, I got to revolt. I got to take over my country. These sickos are in charge, right? You're going to fire up a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
They would never post that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were posting it and giving you incredible details of just how bad it was, actually. And while leaving a ton out saying, look, if we told you everything, what was the comment they made? If we showed you everything about what these people are doing, most of you would be in a hospital, I think is what they said.
Right.
Would be in a mental hospital.
Right.
Like, it's that bad. You're not going to cross those lines when you're doing an operation, a PSYOP. And that's the big thing for me that said, there's no way, in my mind, this is fake. And again, we now have a healing speech given, and the check boxes are being checked off on that one very important message.
Right.
And there's a few that haven't been checked yet, but some of the major ones are checked. And it's like, okay, So again, I mean, it's go time. It's not like I'm gonna have to tell you, but hey, give me a year, everybody. Like, let's see if I thought. It's now. It's already happening. I mean, you see the troops on the streets. Like, it's happening, but we just got to see that little handcuff, cha-ching. Like I keep telling Bill, I don't know if I've said this publicly yet. I probably need to, just in case it happens. But like I had a prophecy or something. But I'm like, okay, so they were talking about doing the impeachment thing today, and by Wednesday we're going to have the thing ready to go and send it to the Senate. And then Nancy Pelosi doesn't show up today. Again, incredible. But could you imagine? They go on with their bullshit on Wednesday, and the effing doors kicked in with the Marines in charge. Arrest these effing criminals right while they're voting for the impeachment or whatever. Oh my God! Please, Trump, give us a show. Give us a show.
Let me add some detail to what you're saying here too, as I see things going on too, because my needle has moved quite a bit since the last show here, and we were having that show in a responsible fashion to have a conversation to see if we could better understand what was going on. That was the point of that show. And of course, it did get me in trouble. And and I think I had some hackers help me out to try to figure out maybe what videos had really got me in trouble with YouTube. And this was one of them that they pointed out that YouTube really didn't like. So I don't know. That being said, today, I'm going back here to this video from Simon Parks. He was talking about what we're seeing now, and Joe, when you say, okay, the first red one is in place right now, we had in the last hours in the morning today this countdown with Pompeo's tweets, and some were made to understand that this was a countdown into people being in position and go time. So
every 30 minutes.
Right.
And he started doing that shit today.
Right.
Yep.
And then he actually got to the 5-minute mark, and the last video update from Simon Parks, I don't have it here on the screen, but it's the one right after this one. He did say that we were now go time, that all the assets were now in place with their objectives in hand, and they had all started their clock at the same time. So this was about maybe 4 or 5 hours ago, at which point this Pompeo clock had clicked in. Go ahead.
I wanted to go find the post.
Okay.
The site's down.
Which one is that? The
one of the alert 17th letter sites that it's always up. I always check it. It's down.
Wow.
I thought maybe it's Google Chrome effing with me. I tried another browser. Nope, it's done.
Penny Kelly read a statement on the show earlier tonight, just the one before this. And guys, if you haven't seen it, go check that show with Penny. But she read a statement that said that would go dark. So we can go back and hear what he said there, but that would go dark until this is all over. We wouldn't get any other posts from that. So I didn't know that she meant it would completely delete everything that was already up there. But she did say that it would go radio silent or dark or something like that. So if folks, you're here in the chat right now and you saw that episode, please remind me exactly what her words were. So going back to what Joe is saying here, we don't have that much long to wait. But what Simon was saying in his last episode is that we're going to start with low-lying fruit. We're not going to get the big names this first couple of days here of the action. This is going to be later on as we get closer to the 20th. So it's very possible that some activity is happening right now and some arrests, but they won't be made visible. One, they're not the big names. Those are coming later. And two, we won't really know this until there's a takeover of the mainstream media. And of course, this is what all of these boards are talking about, that at some point here, somebody's going to take over mainstream, and there's going to be a mass education here as to what has actually been transpiring beneath our nose. Go ahead, Joe.
How happy with that be? I don't know what I don't know what I would do in joy. I don't know.
I know. I'm with you. Like, oh my God. I remember I always tell people, like, remember the textbook picture of that lady with the green, yellow, orange coat when Trump won? No! I would be out there doing yes in my backyard screaming. So here's the post. I asked in my Telegram, anybody got a screenshot of that by chance? Yep. Red 1, POTUS Twitter removal.
Right. Do you want to bring it up on a share screen, Joe?
No.
Show it to the audience? No. Okay.
I don't think you want to see it. Okay. There's certain things posted on it.
Okay.
Red 2, Central Communications blackout, continental U.S. Now, that has not happened. But the remote viewers, Dick and them, saw that actually happening. But it looked like it was more in like a certain area, and I'm guessing maybe D.C. But anyways, Red 3, classified movement, Pelosi or Pence. Now, when that supposed riot and all that crap happened, they said Pelosi and Pence were whisked away somewhere safe.
Mhm.
I now look at this today going, well, wait a minute. Who didn't show up to work today?
Right. I was
Is
going to ask
that
you
a
about that.
classified movement of somebody?
Yeah.
Huh. So there's that. And then red 4, movement of military assets, 10th Mountain, 1st Marine. Yeah, there she is. So,
Yes.
again, we saw the troops. They're all over D.C. I saw the video where they were in Texas unloading like heavy equipment and driving it with troops in the back. I saw that. Red 5, National Military ComCen, whatever that is, CENTCOM or ComCen. Red 6, Secretary of Defense, Instruct 1. And then USSS, which I think is U.S. Secret Service, and then Castle Rock. So every time I see Red 6, Secretary of Defense, Instruct 1, I can't help myself but to feel like that is the speech we've all been waiting for, that you know who gave us on that board. One of the first things they said, look to Twitter, exactly this phrase, my fellow Americans, the storm is upon, that one. Every time I see that phrase, that Instruct 1, my brain just says that's what it's going to be. I can't prove it, but
Right.
that's what I feel.
Gut feeling.
And isn't Secretary of Defense, that's Pompeo, correct? Or is that
He's the
Secretary
Secretary of the
Mike Pompeo
State Department, I think, something like that.
of Defense? Who's Secretary of Defense right now?
SecDef?
Let's check it out. Somebody
Instruct
Google it.
1. So maybe it's whoever that is. It's that person. I think might give that speech on Twitter. But right now, Pompeo, his Twitter account's completely fine. So I'm
Right.
thinking, oh, he's the one who's
Yeah.
tweeting every half hour, right on the money.
Right.
Christopher C. Miller. So I thought, well, maybe it'll be Pompeo. Maybe Pompeo's going to give the speech. But this says Secretary of Defense. So bottom line is several of these things have been checked off. Some have not. And it all started within a few days ago.
Right.
And so go ahead.
And arguably, it might have just started here after this Pompeo countdown.
30-minute thing.
Yeah, and Maryam, before I bring you up here, let me just bring this to the audience attention also, and I'll bring the link in the.
Oh, I see Lisa's comment. Let me comment on that.
Okay, so folks, hold on a sec, Joe. This is the video, folks, where Simon Parks is talking about this countdown and these operations now starting actually, a couple of hours ago. And this is where he explains what he's been told is going to be the breakdown of all of these arrests and the different phases of that leading up to maybe the 20th. Go ahead, Joe.
And the fact that the tweets are happening as he described now gives him huge weight of, hey, this guy might be knowing what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa says they say that the first arrest will shock the world. I have a weird little theory that maybe it might be. I don't know. Sidney Powell was quoted one time as saying the first arrest will be biblical. How about the Pope?
The Pope.
Yeah. Oh, Bible.
OMG. And where it just went dark? Vatican.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. And then all these prophecies, the last pope, blah, 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 blah. If he gets arrested, what's he arrested for? Oh, whoa. We can't talk about that.
Yeah.
You think there's going to be another pope after him? Oh, that cardinal, he did it too. That cardinal did it. And the guy under him did it. And that guy, and the priest did it. Oh my God, your whole effing organization is a filth, cockroach infested, disgusting, pigsty.
Right.
We don't want anything to do with it with another pope. Oh, get out of my face.
Right.
Done.
Maryam, before I get back to you here, I'm just, again, trying to be responsible. Penny was just on the show here, and she talked about the Vatican going down, basically imploding from within. She echoed the sentiments of Dolores Cannon, of Nostradamus. Cliff High also.
It's rated.
And I mentioned to her the fact that some of these sources are saying that there's a negotiation involved right now to try to maybe lessen the blow of whatever is going to be transpiring at the Vatican in terms of their criminality, so as to not shock the world of Christianity and Catholicism. So and to that, Penny said, sorry, JC, it's going down. There's no saving it. And so there's a big shock there that's going to hit the planet, at least also here from this religious icon way of life that we have here on the planet. So I just wanted to say that to the audience to brace maybe for that being actually true, that there's no negotiating partly with what's coming out soon here from the Vatican. Maryam, you had some questions?
Yes, I had some questions. I was just imagining these arrests and I hope so. Okay, so Trump is speaking tomorrow, who I think Wendell in Alamo in Texas. And then another question was, did Melania speak, or was it just that tweet? She actually, because I didn't see it.
It was a letter she wrote, I guess. They posted on the White House. The pictures that I saw was her at a podium, but I'm like, did she speak or not? Because they're showing a picture of her at the podium. They're posting that, but where the hell's the video? If it exists, can't find a video. But I think she addressed the nation through the letter, essentially.
Okay.
Officially as a memorandum. Yeah.
And then there was another intel source of mine who also mentioned March. So someone in the comments said that was the original inauguration. But can you, Joe or Dave, take me through the actual timeline? Why March?
I'm trying to figure that one out.
Okay.
And I think originally March was when they used to do it. And then somewhere along the lines, they said, well, we can just speed it up and you can just do it in January. So my thoughts are not necessarily that, we're going back to the old days. I think there's going to be an interim period of time where the military, who has to be in charge, maybe Trump's not going to be the president for a little bit. And maybe Biden certainly isn't going to be. And there's not really one, because the military has come in to take this thing over, figure it out. And then ultimately, okay, Trump definitely won. Now we can inaugurate him. In March, for whatever reason they choose March. I mean, because I would say, well, why not February? Unless they've got this big plan. They're just going by their military strategy. In January, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. On Inauguration Day, that's going to happen. Then February comes, we're going to do this. We're going to have to show the world, the citizens, this information that we have as the military. Then some arrests have to be made, and then blah, 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 blah. And then when we inaugurate Trump, everyone's going to be like, oh, well, we're not even going to question it. Like, okay. Now, I want to tell you something that's interesting. So my mom is a psychic, so it kind of runs in the family, I guess. I'm going through some things myself this year that have opened me up crazy with working with this guy, Richard. But forget about me. My grandma, so my mom's mom, who passed on earlier, like several months ago, they say sometimes as you're fading out, you start seeing family members, and she's like talking to people and like, grandma, who you talking to? Like nobody's there, So she started having these little delusional things. So my uncle, her son, my mom's brother, emails me today and goes, hey, that's too much to write in an email, but something that your grandma, my mom, was saying to me as she was going through the process of death, I'd go see her and she'd keep asking me, how's Trump? How's Trump? How is he okay? And he said she would ask him as if like she knew him, like, they were friends. And he's like, he's okay. Yeah, I guess he's fine, Ma. Why? And he said she would just have this delusional vision. And she said, and he finally asked her, why do you why are you always constantly worried about Trump? And she says, well, because he's going to have to step down temporarily while some things happen. He's not going to be the president for a temporary period of time. And I have to help. And Mike Pence is going to take over, and I'm going to be the vice president, and I have to help him as the vice president because he's going to have a lot to deal with coming up here, and I have to do my job and to help Trump. He's got to be helped. He's got to be successful. And he was just like, okay, Mom, all right. So I just thought that was really weird. The main part about him not being president temporarily.
How long ago was that, Joe?
Okay, can I just
ago, like probably 6 months ago.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Joe. And let me add to that and try to answer also Maryam's question about why March. When Trump announced there would be a peaceful transition of power, my ears perked up. I'm like, oh, there's no transition of power to your second term. That's not how it works. The transition implies that you're putting the reins over to another entity. So my question on Twitter on that day was, and I'm trying to bring it up now, was who are we what entity are we transitioning to? Are we transitioning away from USA Corp into the Republic, the restoration of the Republic, for example? Are we giving it temporarily to the military or another person that we don't know about for some reason that we just don't see the big picture yet? And to that, Carrie Cassidy told me that her sources were that Trump would turn over power to the military temporarily. And then after all of this is done, we would get an inauguration maybe as far out as April, not even March at this point. So that's the timeline of why they're talking about March.
But in the meanwhile, what does Biden think that he's happening? What's happening to him?
Well, Joe said
I
something.
think they know.
Even knows.
I think they know.
Joe said something about that the other night where he said, well, maybe they just let Biden inaugurate on the 20th, but he's being inaugurated at the old USA Corp, which is dead, defunct, and bankrupt. And there's this new republic taking place. So we're kind of like, yeah, whatever. And in the meantime, there might be some.
And Trump gets 2 terms in the new republic.
That's
we returned from a republic to a corporation back in 18-something.
Right.
So we've been under this corporate, rule. Right. And if that is thrown out the window somehow because of all of this, and he takes over and goes, oh yeah, there's the new republic, which is basically the old republic. We're going back to constitutional law, like when, with Lincoln and whatnot. And someone mentioned in the comments that March 4th was original constitution. Abraham Lincoln and those guys also, it was always March 4th. So another thing that Tori had said, that girl, and she said this like back on, I think the 21st or 22nd of December. And if you you just flip over those numbers, it's March 22nd, 2/22. And she was hinting. And finally people were like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, okay, listen, like you guys don't get it. February 22nd, everything will be crystal clear. So I don't understand what that date's about, other than people go, well, wait a minute, Joe, January 6th to that date, that's 45 days away. And that's the 45 days from the criminal act on the November 6th thing, sealing the deal for Biden and them, sealing the deal for the DNI or whoever to come out and say, okay, here's the report on election interference. Yes, it was a coup. Yes, it was interference, both domestic and internationally from, foreign. And holy shit, we're in a state of emergency. The military's taking over to redo the election. Biden's not getting it. Trump's not getting it. We're doing this whole effing thing over. And that's when I said, you know what? That might be when, hey, Mr. Biden, you're going to show up for the real election, the one that's not rigged, and he's going to be like, F no, because when the people see how bad I get beat, we can't prove that these things were that fraudulent, so I'm not even going to run. So remember, my mom had been saying for a year and a half, I don't see Biden at the end. He's not standing there.
I'm looking at
saying that over and over, and I'm like, but Mom, November 3rd, he was there. He kind of won, fake, but he won. And she goes, I'm just telling you what I got. I was doing a meditation prayer, and that came in big. And usually when that stuff comes in, it's solid. So I thought, whatever happens next. And here's the thing: maybe Biden doesn't make it to the next election.
Yeah, and where's this?
Hear about his son first, by the way.
Yeah.
Then Papa next. You hear something about him, and he's not even there to go up against Trump.
Right.
In the official election that may take place next. And again, all the military stuff in between, they have to figure it out. And that, okay, we're delaying the inauguration. We're delaying this. Keep in mind, it was couple weeks ago, at least, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I'm watching them remove the little barriers and walls they were setting up for the inauguration of Joe Biden. They already set it up, and then they're dismantling it. Yeah. Why would you spend the money to even set it up if you already knew coronavirus was out there, and in the name of coronavirus, we're taking it down because he doesn't want to do a public inauguration? You'd have already known that. It's coronavirus. We keep hearing the stupid numbers are getting worse and worse. So why did they take that stuff down?
Why did she become senator again? Why did Kamala become senator again?
Well, guys,
why is Kamala Harris not relinquishing her? That's what she said, not relinquishing her Senate seat. Nobody's waited this long. I think in the history of our country, as far as I know, maybe one or two people, who knows? I don't think anybody has to relinquish their Senate seat if they were a senator or a congressman. This close, we won. I'm the vice president. It's over. Right. Nope. I'm going to hang on to that for a little bit longer. Okay. They know. That's the point. They know. And that's why I'm looking at this like it's just a big play. Where is Kamala Harris? Where is Joe Biden, as a matter of fact? Where are all these? Where's Nancy again? That should be trending on Twitter now. Where's Nancy? Where's nervous Nancy?
Well, today Trump was supposed to speak, and that was pulled. And in lieu of Trump, we got Biden supposedly getting a second version of his shot in the arm. So
yes, and
maybe it was probably just vitamin E so that he could.
I wonder if that's symbolism for take this. Remember Nancy?
Right.
She made that little comment one time, something, and they're like, "Oh, that's their comment about get ready to take your death pills, like your suicide pills, like suicide weekend."
Yeah.
This could be suicide weekend, by the way.
Yeah, but I want to get back to you here on January 6th. You said something that sparked my ears earlier, and I've been trying ever since here to kind of formulate that in my brain and translate from French. It's getting late at night here, but on January 6th, one of the things that struck me. Oh yeah, okay. You were saying how the media was so adamant about telling people how this was a violent protest and blah, 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 blah. And where you were there on the terrain, it was contrary to your reality. And I remember also one of the main talking points of the mainstream media that day also was that this was a beautiful ceremony, simply rubber stamping. What we already knew was the fact that Biden was the president. And here we have these disgusting rioters outside trying to prevent what is supposed to be just a beautiful rubber stamping ceremony to basically validate what we already know. And I'm like, mother effing liars. This is not a rubber stamping ceremony. 90 or 100 lawmakers had made it public weeks before that they still had objections, and they wanted to present and debate why they had objections as to certifying this vote. So for them at 6 o'clock news to tell you, oh, it's just a rubber stamping ceremony is absolutely abject false.
And what if those people, I'm not objecting, oh my God, you're a traitor. Lindsey Graham, I'm not objecting, oh my God, you're a traitor. What if they're all playing the role, they're on Team Trump? Because they can't let it go back to the system. They have to let it go to the military. So seal the deal, play your role. If you're in trouble, we'll make a deal with you. Again, this was already done a long time ago. And everyone who's getting screamed at and yelled at like Lindsey Graham was when he walked through the airport, everyone's, you're an effing traitor. I'm thinking he's probably just playing his role.
Let me bring you deeper into the weeds here. So maybe they're playing the role, as you say, so that we always thought that this would eventually go to the military. So we were exhausting all the legal steps, and so Trump couldn't be accused of, using the military to do anything as opposed to a last resort. So there's that, and there's also, if you go back to maybe more of a religious connotation of the day of judgment, or separating the wheat from the shaft, or like Lisa said earlier, everybody has to make a choice here and to show which side they're on. We've accomplished that now. On that day, only the few very, very strong hands still objected, and they stood their ground, whereas a lot of other people might have just caved there to really show which side they were on, whether they were being blackmailed or whatever. So now we have a record for judgment, and this is what's coming. We needed to know. We couldn't let anybody on the fence, and this is why, like you said, Joe, we had to go through all of this process, show the American people what was really transpiring and who was on what side.
Listen, I don't want to have to bring, I don't want to embarrass anybody, but this whole we stuff, you're an effing Canadian, dude. This is this is me and Dave, and this is our world over here.
I'm going to correct you. That's funny, of course, but I'm going to correct you. First of all, MARYAM's also a Canadian.
I know.
I'm an American citizen. I'm both.
I'm kidding. I know. I love you guys.
No. But
we're all in this together, and all fairness.
Right. This is we as humanity. We're all fighting, like Archbishop Vigano told us a couple of months ago too, which of course the mainstream media didn't want to carry, that we were fighting in this spiritual war. That's what I mean by we, and we need to know where these children of darkness are, who they are, and this. Them being exposed in the way that we've seen in the last couple of weeks and days was absolutely necessary in order to get to the next steps. That's what my feeling is of all of this. And in the conversation with Penny today, I really wanted to focus, and again here on this show, to stay in that frequency of understanding that these events are happening, but they're all catalysts for change. And if you can use that and embody that for you and see where your change and where your mission lies in all of this, you're going to be coming out of this, one, much faster than those who are trying to hold on to the past, but two, much more empowered to start and hit the ground running as we get into these new systems. So maybe here we can switch gears and talk about that a little bit. Let me bring up Dave here. You've been quiet for a little while here. We've been hugging the microphone here. So Dave, getting back into that concept here, let's try to reach the audience here that's listening to this and that's looking for this guiding light concept.
So, and you used the word I was just going to use, and that is this idea of light. Most, if not all, the people joining us right now and watching this video later are people of the light workers. And, you know, it occurred to me, you mentioned something earlier, JC, that there are people that don't have the information that we've been discussing here for the last hour and 45 minutes. And other, you know, beyond this particular meeting we're having, other conversations where we've been talking about all that's been going on and trying to dissect what's going on and figure out the next step of the plan as it gets carried out for Trump's next term. Because we're all, I think, convicted that, yeah, that's going to happen. We're convinced of that. We know it in our hearts. We know it with all the information that we have coming to us. But think of all the people, going back to what you kind of sparked the idea in me, and that is, think of all the people that do not have access to this information because they're watching the mainstream gaslighting propaganda, and they're unquestionably. So when the biblical stuff happens, as Joe and others were referring to, that's going to be a big fat red pill a lot of people are going to choke on. And for us, our role is to help shepherd them through that process in a way that's as gentle as possible, because there's a lot of people that they won't know what to do. I mean, I know how I felt. You know, JC, we had that 8-hour live stream on election night going into the next day. And I remember how I felt. I had this cognitive dissonance going on, and I'm thinking this can't be. Now, it was probably at a level it's going to be much lower than for a lot of people, but still, it's like, holy crap, I can't believe this. This is what I was expecting everybody else would be feeling on the blue side, and here I am on the red side, and I'm feeling this potential loss, knowing there's still stages to play out. So our role, I think, JC, is for us of the higher vibrational, higher enlightenment type people, the love and light kind of realm. Let's help the other people make that transition. Now, there's going to be some, they might just sort of crash and burn. There's not a lot we can do about that. But there are people that are in our circle, and maybe, people that maybe hopefully come to your channel and MARYAM's work and Joe's work. They can have maybe a gradual recovery from their cognitive dissonance.
Right.
And perfect timing for Gemma.
Yeah, Gemma agrees with you. She's barking. MARYAM, back to you.
Okay. Surely even the normies, wouldn't they look and go, it's a little bit too much, inciting violence, insurrection, white supremacists. It's like, I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of us. Like, so I had a girlfriend that I've known since high school message me on Instagram and go, I'm confused. Are you pro-Trump? And I mean, all I could say is because I posted a picture of the Capitol. I was there. This was a beautiful event. It was totally peaceful. The media is lying to you. That's all. I mean, that's all I could say in the message. But surely, isn't this so super over the top that even normies would go like, or maybe I'm wrong.
Some will pick up on it, go, something's a little off here. But there's gonna be a lot of people that are just there. I know folks that all they ever listen to is the mainstream media. That's the truth that they believe. And I've literally had people tell me, I watch this because I want to know what's going on. I want to be informed. But they're actually being misinformed, as we all know. So, but I do want to add one thing about when people ask, are you for Trump? Or are you a Trumper? I like to tell people I'm just a political observer. That's all I am. I'm just a political observer. I don't take any sides here. And I find that's worked pretty well for me. So anybody else?
I'm an effing Trump supporter. F off. That's how I
I
roll.
was trying to look for a picture here just to show, because you're asking a good question, Maryam. Like, do normies really realize that?
Well, what'll happen?
Go ahead, Joe.
You'll be on Facebook or whatever, and you'll post something. One of your liberal lunatic friends will say, "Oh my God, Trump's inciting violence," and then they post that garbage, and you say, "Could you show me where Trump said that? I missed that." And they'll go, "Okay, all right," and they'll go get the mainstream media article. Look, they said it. Okay, thank you. Can you show me where he said it? They're saying that, but I didn't see that. Can you show me any? And then they'll go look. Some of them will go take the time and look and go.
Mm-hmm. And here,
I didn't actually see him say that.
Right.
That's
and
that
here,
seed that just got planted in their head to where they go, huh?
Yeah, right.
Not all of them. Some of them are like, oh, I'm not going to go do that. They're just, I'm a liberal leftist and that's it. And I come up with bullshit and that's how I run my life. Don't ever come to me with facts because I don't like facts.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. But also, the media has been telling us, oh, it's a bunch of rioters and disgusting scum and anti-Americans and blah, blah. Oh, are they describing this? Let me see. Oh, wait, that's not DC. That's fucking Antifa and BLM peaceful protests. Did you see any of that on DC? No. No, you didn't. You saw a couple of people at the house or at the Capitol building, but not this, not in the streets like they're suggesting it was. It was not that. So go ahead, Nadia.
I just can't believe we've seen months and months of violence and destruction and no mention of these terrorist organizations. And now someone like me or whoever else, I don't know if either of you, that I'm a domestic terrorist, that Mickey Willis is a domestic terrorist. They're lying. I just cannot believe. How could they deny all the destruction?
She should file the lawsuit against them like those other people have. They all win. They always win against CNN and them. I'd file a defamation lawsuit faster than they can, blink their eye. Honestly.
I had an interview with Paula Asteria, who was also in Capitol Hill, and that night she was just coming back, and we were doing a show with Laura Eisenhower, and Paula after the show, she's like, "GC, I'm so worried. Like, do you think I'm a terrorist now? Like, I'm kind of expecting people to, to come knock down the door and put me in jail." I'm like, I mean, but of course, this is what we're being told, and she's like, "Well, since when is a peaceful protest you become you get on a no-fly zone or you're being called a terrorist?" But this is the narrative that is being pushed out. So you mentioned the normies here. There's a question about January 6th, whether or not it was a peaceful protest or a riot, or as the mainstream wanted to tell you. But this whole 4-year term is the same thing. Are the normies not starting to figure out that the Orange Man bad, the Russia Gate, the Pussy Gate, whatever they throw at them never ever sticks? At one point, like I look at
CNN's ratings. There's your answer.
What's that?
Look at the news company's ratings. There's your answer. They're failing.
That's it. So the normies are getting it, maybe not as fast as we would like them to, but they are slowly getting it. But there are some people for whom, whether it's their food, their medication, they're predisposed for this brainwashing or whatever, they're still very much deep into this. Or there's also the question, like we were talking to Penny earlier, about their soul contracts and what their missions are. And for some people, they came here to experience exactly that, to be completely enthralled into a 3D, very divisive, dualistic nature, and they're not meant to wake up from it too. So there's all of that to consider. It's not always as simple as we think. Maryam, does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, it does. I want to hear your thoughts on this psyop. Obviously, there's tons of real patriots that may have gone for the heck of it inside, following suit. And how about the bullhorn guy with the Speedo, whatever, that guy that is arguably a Trump supporter? Do you know which one I'm talking about? The dude with the bull horns?
Yeah, The guy in the Simpsons.
You mean the helmet
Is
thing?
he a speeder? Was he really? Where did I get that from?
Let me bring that up. So yes, go ahead, Joe. I'll bring up the slide here.
I can't believe it.
What was the question you had, or what were you saying?
Joe, speak about the guy with the horns here.
If you can articulate how
there's-
because I still get like there's someone who died, like supposedly. So that and I also don't want to be disrespectful, but that kind of really doesn't make things look good.
Right.
Supposedly 5 people died, right?
Yeah. If
Right.
again, if it's true, that's one thing. But if it's not, and something's propaganda, well, changes the whole ball game at that point. But yeah, there's that guy, and he's seen with Rudy Giuliani. He's seen with Pelosi.
Yeah.
They're saying this guy was one of the intel, ops, one of the infiltrators of Antifa, basically, and
David Wilcock went as far as to say that he had special cameras in his antenna.
yeah, I heard he had a GoPro hidden in there, supposedly. Who knows?
That's hilarious. Okay.
Okay, so to answer your question there too, Maryam, Paula knows this guy. She's seen him at other rallies. She actually spoke to him, and she said, "Dude, this guy's like a shaman. He went to BLM rallies and Antifa rallies, but he was going there to heal them,
Yeah.
and put positive energy in there." So I don't
Or
know.
that's his cover story.
Right. So then my question was too, is it possible that he's also one of these MK Ultras or Manchurian type candidates that really doesn't know? Because I saw an interview where he's belting it out against the pedophiles, the deep state, and the spirit cooking, Abramovich, like this guy's read in. And Kerry Cassidy was like, wow,
This
fuck, this
guy-
guy, right? But is he one of those actors too that we have trouble placing here? And to me,
I think so.
this was like, oh, I don't know. The Simpsons.
If he's in The Simpsons, it's over. He's one of
Dude,
these.
this guy knew that he was gonna be. Look at his outfit. Really, I was freezing my ass off. Do you know how cold it was? That he's like buff and he knew I'm gonna make history. I'm gonna look at this outfit straight out of like a Burning Man.
The Simpsons, or straight out of The Simpsons.
Right. And also to be responsible, there was a few tweets on the internet saying that triple triangle he has above his heart here was a boy lover symbol.
It's different.
No, I brought that up. It's more of a rune. It's a rune, actually. I'll bring up the logo. Go ahead, Maryam, or whoever wants
I just realized it is like the logo in his chest, and I
Yeah.
didn't notice how.
Let me bring that up for you guys.
The correlations are amazing. It's just mind blowing.
Okay, so
Can you send the link to that?
this here is the boy lover symbol. Okay, when you look at it here far away, it kind of looks like it, but when you zoom in, you see these triple triangles here, and I'll show you now what I believe that actually is. So.
Yeah, he's an actor who never acts. Exactly.
It's this symbol here. There you go. Right, this walnut symbol, a rune
The
symbol.
Volknot. The Volknot.
Right, and so it makes sense with his Viking type of costume there. So I want to
Exactly.
give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not a boy lover. But anyways, this was all there, and this is how. Also, Joe and I have been doing this for a while, and we also try to caution people to not jump and retweet everything they say. This is the fog of war, and there's real people involved too. So we have to be careful what we're saying about who and try to be responsible here. So I wanted to again bring that up because people, I keep seeing the tweets on Twitter that this was a boy lover tattoo, and I don't think it is at this point.
What is Jimmy Crockett's name?
Who's Jimmy Crockett?
That dude. What's his name?
Davy Crockett.
Oh, that guy.
Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett. Let me bring it back up. What do you mean? What is he saying? What is he saying today? Or
What's
what
his
is
name?
No. What's his name?
Oh,
What's his real name?
wait, I did have him. I have this in another tweet. Let me.
If you can share at that point, at one point, just I want to look at that image. I want to include this guy in my story. What's his charge?
Joe, guys, go ahead when I try to look this up here on the.
I don't know what his charge is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so originally, people were saying, "Hey, of course, this guy's Antifa, blah blah blah," because he was at this Arizona BLM rally, and then, of course, per his story, that's not what he's doing there. But also, from people who actually talked to him while he was doing there, he was apparently, and Apollo said this, more of a shamanic type of guy who was trying to heal the
fine.
situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this guy's.
I got the name of the guy. His name is
wanna-
Jake Angeli, Angeli. Guy dressed in horns and furs at the U.S. Capitol. But wait, Snopes looked into it.
Oh, I bet.
What did the experts at Snopes say?
I'm opening it. We'll see.
USA Today.
Mostly
Jake
false.
Angeli, who wore the fur hat and horns as mob raided U.S. Capitol, arrested and charged. So this was when? January 9th. Okay. Do you have a link?
all the bogus photos of these morons in Congress laying on the floor, scared to death. Oh,
Right.
take the photo. Take the photo. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Get the F out of here, you losers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
And
you
also,
ever see Pelosi on with 60 Minutes? Oh my God!
I didn't watch. I saw a few seconds. I'm like, it's going to really drive me nuts if I watch this. I'm like, no. Just a few seconds is all I can handle.
you
And
have
she's sitting there chewing on her cud. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my, that's how you know she's so angry.
She seethes.
She can't help it when she does that.
Pelosi seethes.
yeah.
She's seething.
Yes,
That's what comes to me.
yes.
She's quite a piece of work, that woman.
I have a
Now,
comment.
my woo-woo dude friend says she's going to get what's coming to her without being too detailed. And I go, okay.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised. Somebody was just putting something up about Katherine Austin Fitz, and I don't see it now. It came off of my buffer. I think the person was relating to that last video she did where she's describing in an interview. What's that interview called now? Man, I tweeted about this too. Let me find that out, because if you haven't seen, folks, this interview with Katherine Austin Fitz, she really describes what's happening on the planet right now, and it's a must watch. And it's also a must watch for a lot of the normies, because she speaks in such a way, like she's not like us here doing all of this conspiracy stuff, and she has a lot of ability to communicate, if I can say it that way. But let me bring that up here. Who wants to take the stage here? Joe, Dave, anything you want to say while I bring that up?
No.
Mary Coe is saying some things. Who went on Alex Jones's show? This guy Jake Angeli and
Je ne sais pas.
he says he was in court today. You're talking about him?
Je ne sais pas. Sorry, folks. I hate dead air, but I'm trying to find this video here for you guys. Greg Hunter. No, it wasn't the Greg Hunter one. God damn it. Where is it? Can't find it. Anyways, was there, okay, so we're in the 2-hour mark here, Maryam. Is there anything else that you had in terms of footage you wanted to share before we drop for tonight?
I think there was a fourth one that can illustrate what happened after, because then they instituted a curfew, right? So then there were cops outside of many of the hotels forbidding people from leaving.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Here.
Okay, you want me to bring that with volume?
Sure.
Okay.
Guess who stormed the Capitol today? Antifa. It was a crane job. We are not those people. We are not those terrorists. We love every single one of you. We want that same love back. We need that respect. We are Americans. This is not America. This is not America. You are very American right now. Uphold the oath that you trust. Uphold the oath that you trust. To defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. This is domestic terrorism. And guess who stood?
Okay, there you go. Let me come back here to the main screen. Yeah, that was very poignant. I hope a lot of police officers were hearing that and taking it to heart, because even here with the lockdowns in Quebec now and the curfews, we've had quite a few instances too of the population really speaking back to the police. And I happen to have a police officer who was one of my tenants. I have apartments for rent. And anyways, she was telling me, you know, Jean-Claude, a lot of us are doing the stuff that we're doing and we don't want to, you know, and sometimes we're forced to. That's part of our job. It's very difficult right now. So that was one. And I have another buddy who's a cop, who's an RCMP, and he was also saying, dude, I drive by and I pretend I don't see it because I don't want to enforce this stuff. It doesn't make any sense, right? So there are the good cops out there, and our hearts go out to them, those who are awake and who can see what's happening now. And Penny Kelly was saying something to that effect too. We need to reach out with them with some loving compassion too, but give them room also to wake up. So maybe your thoughts on that, MARYAM, as you saw this scene unfold here.
Well, I went up. I had a party to go to, and I basically told them I need to go home to my Airbnb. I didn't tell them I'm going to a party because there's a curfew, but they let me go. And then the MAGA people were like, "Wow, you have so much courage," and I didn't even know what they were about. What, that you went to talk to the cops and got a I don't know. Anyone who tells me you can't do it, just watch me. You know, just. You know, to just say you can't, like, whatever. Anyway, so they were nice to me. They let me
you realize you're quoting Trudeau Senior when you say, "Just watch me." As a Canadian, you get the joke. But anyways, I know you're not quoting Trudeau when you're saying that.
No.
I love you for your passion and for your guts and for your courage, MARYAM, and I'm proud to have you on the show.
Hey, MARYAM, I'm curious about something. You saw what was happening on the ground. I'm curious, how did you get to and from the event, and what did you witness while you're doing that? So, like, maybe you had air travel. There's been a lot of stuff happening for people with that form of transportation for the event. So what happened for you? How'd you get to and from? What'd you witness?
Plane wise?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely am not wearing MAGA Make America Great Again hat. I'm going kind of undercover. There was footage from, I think Mindy Robinson put it, that they told people they would dump them. I was in line on my way back, and someone behind me said that they were kicked off the plane for having Trump gear, like literally kicked off the plane. But is that what you mean?
Yeah, I was just wondering what kind of resistance, let's say, you were witnessing. So that sounds like you saw.
I mean, I'll tell you the two lift rides that I took. One of them was a man from Ghana. He was a Trump supporter, but his BLM black friends think that he's a sellout because he stands for Trump. And then there was someone else. There's a lot of like people who closet Trumpers. What can I say?
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question. I mean,
yeah, it does. An interesting idea of closet Trumper. What percentage of Trump's supporters are closet Trumpers? It's probably a pretty high number.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Dude, watch this. This video has been removed for violating YouTube's term of service. This is the video I was talking about with Katherine Austin Fitz, and the title was Planet Lockdown. So there you have it. Here's censorship live here as I'm trying to point you to a good video that explains what's going on. Somebody's doing their level best for you not to see that. So I'll see if I can find another version of that somewhere, maybe on BitChute or whatever while we're talking.
I want to add one more thing too before we go.
Go ahead.
So again, Tori, that girl, when she was talking about February 22nd, Mr. President, I'll see you in March at your inauguration, all that shit. She said, by the way, everybody, just know that duality is only temporary. So the definition of duality, the quality or condition of being dual, or an instance of opposition or contrast between two concepts or two aspects of something, a dualism. So in other words, two things, two separate things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is she saying Biden And again, like we talked, Biden for the old corporation, he's inaugurated. Trump will get the new one. There'll be a temporary, okay, Biden's going to be inaugurated, but something's happening. So he's kind of president, but he's not. Something happened, you know, while simultaneously Trump is somehow. I don't know what the hell she meant by that, but how else do you take a comment like that? Just know that duality is only temporary and short term.
Possible reference to ascension.
Ascension?
Yeah, to other dimensions.
For Tory says regarding Trump?
And you asked, how else could you interpret that? Like,
yeah, boy, everybody know that. No, yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Okay, folks, I saw there is now only a 9-minute video available that I can see on YouTube of this prison planet. So let me bring that up so you guys can see that here. Why is that not working? There you go. So yeah, so we're down to 9 minutes here off of this 1-hour video. I'll bring this link down in the chat so that you guys can go hunt for that and possibly find the full version and save it and download it, because of course it is fabulous the way she's explaining what's happening.
Yeah.
You saw it too, Maryam. You and I were talking that same day.
I think, I mean, it's something that we all, many of us know, but it's something that she birthed into the collective, a way in which she explains it and breaks it down, the Great Reset, in a palatable way, I think, for normies, to really explain how the Rona is not really about the Rona.
Mm-hmm.
Got that right.
Oh, there you go. I think I just found, thank you. Somebody in the chat was saying it's on BitChute, and I just did find the address. Okay, so let me bring that up for the audience here. So there's a link in the chat for you guys now. And when you get there, let me see here. This is what you're looking for. There you go. Full interview, Planet Lockdown. Yeah, you guys got to watch that and maybe save that on your computer and send that to your normie friends, your parents, your relatives who think you're crazy, because she does a really good job, like Maryam just said here. Okay, Joe, where do we go from here? Predictions next couple of days?
I mean, I'd just be throwing darts. Honestly, I have no effing idea. But I mean, some arrest, something has to happen freaking soon. And if it's not arrest, the military, declaring something, But again, I think it was Lynn Wood also saying, get ready, next few days, several days, the arrests are going to finally happen. And that guy's been dropping bombs online. And he's a defamation expert lawyer. Right. Would you say that kind of stuff and defame somebody, or, no way he would be saying things he's saying about these people. He's all over the pedophile stuff. He's all over everything.
Right.
So I'm like, whoa, they're just letting him loose. So I'm hoping, that we start to see it. Again, I'd love for Wednesday to come. We're going to hold a vote today to impeach President Trump, and the effing Marines kick the door down. Tase him. Tase him. Hey, don't tase me, bro. Oh, you getting tased, son. Tase him. Tase them all.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to be on the screen while you were doing your last little bit there. I'm getting tired. All right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Maryam, I'll leave Dave the final word.
Me? The final word?
No, you. Go ahead.
Do it.
I
do it live.
What am I saying? I'm signing off?
Where do we go from here? What's happening in your view in the next couple of days, or anything else you want to share with the audience before we go? Maybe words of wisdom or...
Okay, I honestly, I'm waiting to see what President Trump says tomorrow. I don't see Joey as president, but I felt pretty disheartened today. I will not stay in this country under Joey. I'm glad that I went. I met people that I've been conversing with so it was an amazing event up until the PSYOP. And excuse me,
I gotta add something. Go ahead. I want to get cut off. I gotta add something.
I'll give you the last word, Joe.
Hold on, I just caught this. This is good stuff, I think.
Okay.
But do you want to finish first, Maryam?
Oh yeah, just please. You can find me on. I do thread apps. I'm trying to create a presence on Gab. I lost 7,000 people on Twitter, so I'm pretty disheartened. I don't know how the hell to make up for that. 7,000 people. You know how that I worked for that.
I know.
And yeah, I'm working on an article, and then I'm working for something for Robert Kennedy Jr., which I have to get on, which is an honor to be able to do some work for him.
Great.
Yeah,
guy.
that's it. Thank
Okay.
I'm
you.
gonna share my screen.
Very good. Joe, back to you. Let me bring this off here. And this is your ad screen. Hold on a second here. I'm just lagging behind. How do I add this one? Add this one. There you go, Joe.
So this came out, and they're like, "Oh no, it was
Yeah.
a disgruntled employee. It wasn't real." So Donald Trump, his term ended on January 11th. That's today. And there's, Department of State website. Oh, it was a disgruntled employee. No. So somebody I follow on Twitter, a Marine dude, says, yeah, his term did end. Guess who he handed power over to?
Himself.
The military.
Military.
Oh.
That's what he's saying.
And that goes in line, again, whistleblower testimony from what both Simon Parks and Kerry Cassidy were alluding to. And that's why he used the word transition, because...
And he said Insurrection Act, by the way, is his words. And the Insurrection Act gives him power to give the power to who? Fill in the blank. The military.
Right.
So, again, we've heard that yesterday or today morning something, he signed the act, to activate it or whatever. Now, that's fake news, because at Team Trump News is not Donald Trump.
Hold on. So I mentioned this with Penny too, because I'm trying to be responsible for everybody.
But I did hear that it happened, so I don't know.
Right. But let's just put it on the record for the audience who are watching this for the first time. This was not Trump's Parler handle. Trump had his own handle on Parler before he was deleted, and he could have tweeted this or Parlered this if he wanted to. Now, that being said, Penny said she still believes that this is actually true, but we're not seeing it from all the right sources. So it could be, buyer beware here, that this isn't true. But again, we won't see this, and Jenny Moonstone has been saying this to me in the last 6 months, where we're doing these decoding reality shows, that by the end of 2021 we would see very clearly what happened. But right now we're still very deep in this fog of war. So Joe, was that it? You have more?
Well, I'm just looking at did you guys read the emergency he declared earlier? Did you actually read it, or did you just the headline?
We can go into it. Go ahead. Is there anything specific?
I read it. Go ahead, Joe.
It was earlier when Donald Trump declared the District of Columbia, D.C., the emergency, but it mentions, specifically FEMA is authorized to identify, mobilize, and provide at its discretion equipment and resources necessary to alleviate the impacts of this emergency. Emergency protective measures limited to direct federal assistance will be provided at 100% federal funding. Pete Gaynor, administrator, federal or FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, named Thomas J. Fargione as the federal coordinating officer for federal recovery operations in the affected area. So when I hear that, it's like they're kind of telling everybody that's who's in charge now. Not the mayor. Mayor Bowser, whatever her name is, she's not in charge. Not anymore. It's now federal. And that's what I think, anyways, when I read this. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, very good. Had to be said, putting it on the record. And last but not least, my good friend Dave.
Hey, people are worried about free speech. MARYAM talked about rebuilding her Twitter following and channels and so on. JC as well. Trump indicated the possibility that he'd be doing his own social media or some sort of media platform. I saw two things today that looked pretty credible, saying, yes, it's going to happen, it's imminent. One was one I saw on Telegram, and the other I saw on Gab. So Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka, they all three set up Gab accounts just within the last 24, 40 hours. And as well as I can tell, they're authentic accounts. You always have to ask that question. As well as I can tell they're authentic, I always look at how many followers there are in a short time. They got hundreds of thousands of followers. So they're either fooling a lot of people or they're legit. But a post on Gab said it's imminent that he's going to do his own social media resource. So that opens the way for people to be able to speak freely. And I don't know how people are going to be able to monetize things and so on. But
my insider guy had mentioned there would be a new social media coming out. And then the other day, one of the last things President Trump mentioned was there might be a social media thing coming out for the people. So I don't know if this would be a government type of thing, that way, because you have these private parties running shit. Oh, terms and conditions. You can't say that, can't do that, can't do that. But if it's government ran, you have to have your freedom of speech all the time. Not sometimes, or you can't say that. It's always there. So I think this might be something the government comes up with that's like the big public square. You can do video, you'll be able to chat, do all these things. And then he mentioned it the other day. So I go, okay, that's another thing my guy told me was going to happen.
What I have on the screen here, Joe, also is this app.clouthub.com. It was glitchy all day. People were trying to get onto it, but I saw that Trump and Don Jr. had also created accounts here. But right now, it's not loading properly. So it could be a denial of service attack. It could be just too many people trying to log in and create accounts here. So
I'm glad you brought that up, JC, because I misspoke. I said Gab, and I really meant Cloud Hub. There's so many new social media channels I'm going to. It's like they're whirling around in my head, but it was Cloud Hub, where Trump et al. Set up their new accounts.
Very good. And Kerry Cassidy and Simon Parks also mentioned that when Trump said we're going to have a big voice, so it's not over, that is also apparently the name of a comm system a different comm application at the military level. So there was maybe some messages being thrown out to the public there for those who knew what words to really pick at. So again, I don't know. This is we'll see in the next hours, days here what's going on with all of that. Dave, any other last words?
Yeah, and that is I saw in the chat somebody said something about what a time to be alive, and this really is an epic time to be alive. We're going to be looking back at this time and unpacking what really happened. People were writing books and doing movies and documentaries, and right now we're trying to unpack it real time and speculate what's going to happen. But I'm very confident about the direction we're going with Trump, and it's just like on the edge of my seat, and get as much popcorn as you can because it's going to be worth watching.
Yeah, very good. Jay Crypto Minded, JC, when's your Discord link going to be fixed? Dude, I don't know. I tried to set this up the other day on Patreon. It worked for a day or two, and now it's not working. And I'm completely swamped, to be honest with you, Jay, trying to get all of this done and responding to everybody here. So I will eventually get back to that too. What I do have right now that works, and I want to bring everybody's attention to that too, because this is very important. It was the same thing with Penny here. I've added now to my, let me bring this up here, to my website, beyondmystic.net. At the bottom right corner here, I'm creating a mailing list. So if you guys want to stay in contact with me, if this channel again has been brought down, at least this way, I'll be able to send you guys an email and let you know where you can find me. That could be Telegram. It could be this cloudhub.com. I just don't know yet. So please do, if you want to stay in contact with this community here, fill in this mailing list. And I promise I'm not going to email you or spam you. This is not what this is about. This is for the purpose here of staying connected as we might experience more downtime and blackouts here on all of these different platforms. And that being said, I think I want to do too is just do a recap here. Please do go support our friend Maryam here at honeycolony.com. You can also do that on her Patreon site, patreon.com/Maryam HENEIN. And there you can also support our friend Joe at patreon.com/JSnip4. And I'm in there somewhere as well, but I'm Beyond Mystic on Patreon. Please do subscribe there too, because that's where I'm putting now all of these videos that were deleted from these other platforms. And I'm also creating added value content for those Patreons who are supporting me here now, and who enable me to be out here doing this work for free for you guys here on YouTube. So if you can join my Patreon as well, I'd really, really appreciate that. And last but not least, of course, here for this YouTube channel, I have to come back to that here. But here, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe here to my new backup channel. And finally, if you hadn't seen it already, where was I? Where are you? I just had it. I wanted to give you that link to that Penny Kelly episode. But anyways, just go to my channel and you'll find it. Oh, here's my Patreon. And there, of course, you're looking for the insider access pass. This is where all the juicy stuff is. So that's it, I think, for tonight. A hell of a marathon. Thank you so much, Maryam, Joe, and Dave, for helping me navigate through all of this live action role-playing game so that we can give a different point of view and give skills maybe to the audience to decipher what is going on here today in this incredible fog of war that we find ourselves in. I'll give you one last chance. Anybody else has anything, either hot pressing news or anything else you want to share before we go?
I just put in the chat, I put my contacts because I don't have any like web pages and things. So you'll see my LinkedIn and my Gab and Telegram and MeWe accounts in there.
Dave, do you have a link tree where you have all of this in one place? Because you don't.
I just dumped it in the.
Oh, okay.
Chat, yeah.
Okay, so there you go, you guys. You can find that, and of course, maybe also go subscribe to Dave's Crusty Car. Where did you go? There you go, Crusty Cars on YouTube. Here's the channel, and let me bring that link back down there as well.
I think I might have something to add real quick, guys.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Late breaking news.
So there's two people. Okay, so there's a guy named Spooked Blog on Twitter that, once again, Entheos said follow this guy. When Entheos says that, you do it, because he's telling you this person, when they open their mouth, they know shit. So I've been following this guy for a long time too. He's still on Twitter. So he mentioned this guy, Monkey Works, who came out recently, and he's saying, and this guy Spooked Blog says he's the real deal as well. Follow him and listen to what he says. So he has his website is Monkey Works, which is WERX. Monkey Works, WERX is how you spell works, US.com. He wrote a post last night. The Insurrection Act. Well, Patriots, I believe the day we have all been waiting for is now in play. It is Sunday, January 10th, 2021, and one of my very reliable sources has told me he was inbound to Camp Pendleton due to the Insurrection Act being signed. While this information was coming in, I watched Washington Dulles Airport go into lockdown. Nothing in, nothing out, which I do remember that, by the way. Mm-hmm. This typically would indicate that POTUS was on the move. I also watched 2 aircraft exfil the area at the same time, not showing as Air Force One, but something else, which, by the way, is not only very likely they would not broadcast his movement, but would also show us something entirely different. We witnessed George W. Bush do the same thing when he went to Baghdad during the war. His Air Force One 747 was actually squawking as a Gulfstream aircraft. So what is in the Insurrection Act? The Insurrection Act of 1807 is a United States federal law that empowers the President of the United States to deploy U.S. military and federalized National Guard troops within the United States in particular circumstances, such as to suppress civil disorder, insurrection, or rebellion. The Act provides a statutory exception to the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which limits the use of military personnel under federal command for law enforcement purposes within the U.S. Yes, folks, that means the military can and will start arresting people. Before invoking the powers under the Act, so whatever code requires the President to first publish a proclamation ordering the insurgents to disperse. Remember this video shot in the Rose Garden and what POTUS said, telling everyone to go home, condemning what people were doing at the Capitol? I'm not going to lie. When I saw it, I was a little angry at POTUS because I felt like he just sold us out. He was the guy who called everyone there, and now he's telling us to leave. Made no sense. Now it does. There are constitutional exceptions to Posse Comitatus restrictions rooted in the president's own constitutional authority. Defense Department guidelines describe homeland defense as a constitutional exception to the Posse Comitatus restriction. And again, that declaration he just made earlier today mentions homeland security too. Now I'm saying that, not here. So he says, meaning the measures necessary to guarantee national security from external threats are not subject to the same limitations. So now the flight in question, MC4521, exfiled to the Capitol right when all of this lockdown occurred. Interesting data point. It appears that the flight departed out of Oceana Nass. This is probably because if POTUS were to boogie out of DC, everyone would see the movement and know something was happening. So go to an alternate and secure exfil location instead. And then we have this flight that went out of it, MC46. Anyway, so he's tracking all these movements. and just saying, you know, a source has told me, a very reliable source, he says, is telling him the Insurrection Act has been signed. And again, Trump has told people to disperse. That's part of what the act says you have to do. So he told people to disperse, go home. Again, you're calling everybody out here, come support me. We're going to protest. Go home. Mm-hmm. So he did it. It sounds legit now, because I was wondering the same thing. Like, did I just hear him tell everybody to go home? Like it's over. It looks like he's throwing the towel. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
He had to do it. So now this shit's making a little bit more sense right now as I just caught this. And I'm like, okay, Entheos says follow that guy. That guy's saying follow this guy. And sometimes he says he's got better intel than I do. He actually posted, okay, I think I'll follow this Monkey Works guy. But that was yesterday. So again, yesterday that might have happened. Nancy Pelosi is nowhere to be found. And this spooked guy has made some comments about Nancy. I just wasn't going to keep talking on the show, but he's like, she might be visiting Cuba right now. Yes. Oh shit. Okay. We'll see.
And you renovated the resort, I hear.
Yeah, the resort known as Gitmo.
There tomorrow.
Say that again.
Right? They're resuming
tomorrow.
They are resuming tomorrow for the voting of impeachment.
Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? Was it?
Or Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. So technically she should show up.
Well, yeah, if she's not there again, holy moly. And at the same time, though, who's to say that they didn't whisk her away and tell her this is what's about, this the insurrection signed and you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. But since you're the Speaker of the House, we're gonna let you go back. You're gonna cancel this bullshit, you know, or who knows, maybe they'll let her off. But I'll say this: if she doesn't show up again, it's a done deal in my mind. It's happening. It is happening. Because that guy, not Monkey Works, the other guy, Spooked, was tracking some shit. And he goes, you know, I'm hearing unconfirmed that she jumped on a military aircraft and tried to go to the border of Canada and was nabbed. And no, you're not leaving. And she might be visiting Cuba. And I go, okay. So anyway, she didn't show up. She gave someone else power for the time being. If she doesn't show up again, whether that's tomorrow or Wednesday, in my mind, it's over. Something is absolutely happening, and they got her ass. Mm-hmm. You know, but now please get the rest of these bastards and live stream it, because I'm dying over here.
To add to what you were saying here about people trying to maybe get out of harm's way, that is also what some of the insiders are saying are the reasons why we have these Navy ships on both coasts right now. It's not necessarily to repel an invasion from China as much as from trying to stop or prevent people from leaving this country who are in deep doo-doo right now. And here at the border between us here, we, the Canadians, MARYAM and I, they're searching now the cars, one every 2 or 3 cars, and the restrictions are a lot higher. So again, apparently that is also another measure to try to prevent some of these people from escaping the grasp.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so I wanted to add that. Jenny B says, thank you so much for your unwavering streams. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, because it's a lot of work. I enjoy doing it, but at the same time, I do feel the immense pressure that comes with it and the responsibility that comes with it. We're all in this together. As we said earlier, it's not about Americans anymore. It's the whole planet. And we all have to do what we can, and the tools that we have to use them towards this fight here, each and every one of us. So again, a big thank you to Joe on screen here, my friend Dave also, and my beautiful friend also from Montreal, who's somewhere in the States now. I don't know. She keeps moving around. MARYAM HENEIN for being here on the show tonight. So, okay. So I'll ask one more time. Is there any more breaking news before we go?
Nope, done.
We're good to go. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I love you. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Can I say one more thing? Sorry.
Oh, please.
That I determined that there's a new party that's emerging. And sure enough, now there is a new party emerging. I said it 3 weeks ago. So that's the Patriot Party. And then there is going to be Trump media. That's, I think, undeniable. Maybe I'll get a job there. So yeah, just wanted to say that, and may we all be kind with one another, and may we see action. Please, God, I want some action.
Yes, I think your prayers shall be answered here shortly.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
On that note, I love you all. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic. Au revoir.
See you.